Hi. Oh, the chat's off. Okay, there we go. Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? I know it's Friday. Usually you would get a video at this point, but I wanted to record this one live because there's just kind of a lot going on. If this is your first stream, hi, welcome. I'll try not to make it a total bummer. My usual setup is for the first 30 minutes or so. It's usually just talking about whatever, and then around the 30-minute mark, that's typically when we get into the main topic, which today is involving this bachelorette cancellation. I'm not really sure if you're familiar with what's going on or like what people are saying, but honestly, I got like super triggered by this one, and I think I still am. I'm trying not to be. I think I got it out of my system earlier, which is for the benefit of this stream because you don't need like a total mess. But yeah, this is actually really awful, and I don't think I felt this bad about anything that I've talked about almost ever. So yay. Someone said I've heard nothing about this. Yeah, if you've heard nothing about it, it's hard for me to even explain why I'm feeling the way that I am. But essentially, it's a story involving alleged domestic abuse. And then you have people, you know, talking about it, excusing it, this, that, the other. It's very like... there's just a lot going on. And it's like, it can be... Someone said I'm confused. I don't think you'll be less confused when I go over it because it's kind of a long story, but someone said I appreciate your decision to analyze the show in depth that I refuse to watch, and yet I'm intensely curious about. Yeah, we're not going to be talking about the show itself because it got canceled. So someone said the footage was very depressing. Yeah, no, it definitely was. I'm so lost on how to actually even talk about this because the truth of the matter is you have like multiple groups of people who are triggered over this for various reasons, many of which are understandable, but then in their reactions to this, they're saying a bunch of things that I'm also finding really hard to process. Someone said not alleged, she pled guilty. There's more allegations beyond what was actually, you know. Sorry. I'm so out of it. Someone said I saw the footage this morning, genuinely shocking stuff. Yeah, and I'm not going to be playing the footage today because it's not useful, nor is it necessary. Someone said I've triggered by this also as I've been in a similar domestic situation. Yeah, I think the thing is though, I'm not even like 100%. It wasn't even just the video itself that was a problem for me personally. It was like, and for those of you who don't know, it's a video of TikTok star and reality TV star Taylor Frankie, Paul, hurling metal stools at her estranged boyfriend, hitting him repeatedly. One of them glances off of him and hits their daughter, who starts screaming. There's really a lot going on, but the footage itself was obviously a lot. But after that, you now get a lot of people talking about this clip in a way where they're trying to explain what could have been happening and saying it's like it's reactive abuse, and which is possible. I'm certainly not here but like I'm just telling you, this has honestly been sorry. I'm just reading the chat. Someone said definitely be careful on social media. Yeah, it came up in my feed with no warning. Yeah, can I share with you my main argument? Yeah, sorry. Her daughter with her first husband, not his kid. If I shared misinfo, I don't have my outline yet. We're not recording yet. Can I share with you my thesis? I don't think my thesis is incorrect. It's essentially we don't know what happened. We only know what is in that video, and reactive abuse is real. But also, just when you have a video of somebody being domestically assaulted, and then there's a bunch of comment sections explaining, well, I bet he started it. This is why I never told anybody what happened to me, and probably won't, because I guess no amount of crying beforehand was going to save me. I promise, chat, I tried to cry about it before the stream a lot. That way this wouldn't have happened, but this is just why I never said anything. I don't even know, like, I feel like I'm out of commentary. Like, I don't even have anything to say. We don't know what happened. It's just absolutely crazy reading so many comments saying like, no, he started it. Why did he keep going back to her? He had a baby with her. This is obviously reactive abuse. And then what's really, 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 really tricky is many of the people who are saying that this is reactive abuse are people who have experienced domestic violence. It's primarily people who have experienced domestic violence saying, I know that this is reactive abuse because I've been in a similar situation. And so I'm very worried about this topic because I don't want it to sound like I'm coming online to explain to everybody, a bunch of domestic violence survivors, that like you were all wrong and you don't know what you're talking about and reactive abuse isn't real. I'm literally just trying to say that this is like, I've never been this triggered by things I've been reading online. It's actually like, it's just footage of somebody being abused. All these comments of like, well, I know that he started it. I know that he started it. And it's just like, damn. I guess I was right to never like, it's like impossible not to think about myself, I guess. But that's just one of many moving parts of this story. Someone said they can't say they know that. Yeah, no, that's literally, that's my only argument, is just you can't say that you know what's happening in a room that we weren't in, even if it's very possible or even likely that this happened. So I don't think it's a crazy take. And obviously, I'm trying to be sympathetic to survivors of domestic violence while simultaneously being a survivor of really extensive domestic violence. I'm just literally begging people to stop saying it's his fault if you don't know that. It could be, but I argue so much. Like people keep trying to flip the genders. It's not even about flipping the genders. It's not useful. That's not a useful analog. I'm literally just begging people, please stop saying that you know for sure that he started it when it's a video of someone being assaulted. That's just and it's funny, not funny, but like you think so much time passes and you're fine. Is how I felt. Because when everything was happening, I just felt so small. And that's kind of how I felt today. Just like equally small. Just knowing like no one would ever believe me no matter what I said. And it's like, you can't exactly tell me that I'm wrong when you can see the way that people are reacting to this. I'm just so open about so many things, but there's just things I know. It's completely pointless for me to even try to explain. And this is why. Someone said this is why a lot of male abuse doesn't come forward. Yeah, I just think like we don't actually. I think people are really shocked by all of this because they don't see it a lot, which is why many people are assuming it must be his fault. But I'm just literally here to offer you the additional perspective that like you might not see this a lot, because why would I actually ever tell anybody that this happened if people are just going to react this way? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a really depressing thing to be right about. I always knew. I always knew. I was just like, there's, I always knew. But like, I think the thing for me that I want at some point by the end of my life is to just be able to tell one person what actually happened. I can't even do that. I've never actually like said it aloud to anybody who didn't already know. I can't do it. And I try, but it's really just like, so hopefully someday I get there. That's all I want. I don't want to like get back or change anything. I just want to be somebody who can speak up for himself. The same way I would speak up for someone else without hesitation, you know? But it's not easy in an environment like this, I guess. Somebody said, I think one of the reasons people are talking about his culpability is people have watched the show and seen abusive behavior from him other times and watched them be very mutually toxic. I did bad things as well. I was toxic, I suppose, but I don't think I deserved to be abused because of it. And I know that's not what you're saying. I'm not putting those words in your mouth at all. You're explaining why so many people are talking about this, and you're correct. I just, so many of these talking points, I think it's alarming how so many of these talking points are typically like easily shot down in other contexts, obviously. So it's really tricky. But yeah, I'm not coming for you specifically who said that. Please don't get offended. I'm really just trying to balance how to say this one, you know? Somebody said I wasn't aware that they were well known before. Yeah, they were like TikTok famous, reality TV famous. I personally never watched their shows, so I didn't know about this until recently. Someone said Dakota may have shown concerning / abusive behavior in other circumstances. That doesn't make his abuse deserved, and that doesn't make Taylor not an abuser. Essentially, yeah, I'm just not even here to make an argument about who did what to whom, because I just always find that to be really unhelpful online. And I guess before it was just a lot easier to like separate myself from this scenario and just say, hey, this thing that's happening, I don't think it's right, and I don't think we should be speculating on this because we don't know what happened, and don't disbelieve people, whatever. But yeah, it was just a little bit harder to do that on this particular morning, I guess. Just reading the chat. Someone said I just joined. Could someone please catch me up real quick? Someone said, do we know the source of the video, or are they just saying it was leaked? Like, did he want it posted, or was it a surprise to him too? I have no idea. I don't know. Oh, there's a lot of that too, by the way. Right now, chat, there's a lot of talk about, like, how dare he even release this footage? I guess people are convinced he released it to TMZ, even though TMZ's wording sort of implied that they obtained it from the investigation when it happened in 2023. A lot of talk about how he's manipulative and a bad person for allowing the footage of him being physically assaulted to be released, and he's just trying to mess everything up for her. Does that sound kind of familiar to you, chat? Is this not the kind of very language that we have been teaching ourselves not to use because it has this effect of being super triggering on people? Just reading stuff like that and I shouldn't have been reading this stuff, first of all. I literally I guess I convinced myself I was literally just doing research, but I was just reading a bunch of comments of people saying like, yeah, how dare he even release this and ruin this for her? She changed. And I'm just like, she was beating him with metal chairs. I can't believe people think this is an appropriate forum to criticize the release of this video, or even saying that the release of this video is in some way abusive. And I also really want to make it really clear, 100% he could also be abusive as well. I'm truly not arguing against that. When I say that I don't disbelieve people who speak up, I really mean that. I really mean that. She's now come out and said that actually he was abusive. So I'm not here to say that that's not true. Just, I'll show you an example of like what I have been sifting through all morning to try to make a cogent point, like something that actually doesn't just sound like me, ranting and raving or whatever. Because again, I'm personally me. I'm never here to play that game of just like, oh well, it's gender, and if the roles were reversed, it's not true that if the roles were reversed, everything would be different. Because frankly, so many people get away with doing this exact same thing while being men. Actually, you're much more statistically likely to get away with horrific abuse if you're a man. If we're being quite honest. It's just really tricky though, being a man. You're clicking into a video and I'm telling you, hey, I think a lot of this conversation is not right. I know people are going to assume I'm just making some sort of shoddy point or some sort of shoddy false equivalence. and I'm literally just trying to speak up for once. I'll show you an example of what I just thought was kind of like, what are we still doing here? Okay, here's my outline. It is this one. Sorry, chat. Give me a second. If there's one thing that's gonna happen, it's gonna be my computer not acting right, even in a serious context. Also, sorry for crying. I find it to be so cringe, and I wish I didn't. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, it is coming out of the wrong speaker. I promise I'm trying to show you this video. Audio, Elgato. Okay, fixed. What's funny is we don't even need audio. Okay. So for context, Taylor Frankie Paul would be the woman throwing these chairs, and Dakota was the man being abused in the video. And you literally have people getting hella views talking about, I really don't care that Taylor Frankie Paul beats Dakota. I love women in male-dominated fields. Ha ha ha. And then the caption says, he deserves it too. LMFAO. And you've got hella people in the comments talking about, all I thought was, what did he do first? Someone said Taylor and Dakota is Darvo, and honestly, they might be right. Finally, a post I can relate to. I understood her and just minded my business. I don't even know how to, vocalize how that makes me feel. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't, even if in this case, he was actually abusive, and we just don't know because he started the recording too late. This is, I don't want to sound like I'm exaggerating, but this is pretty much some of the most horrific stuff I've ever had to read. Honestly, for me personally, just my personal experience, just because of things that I've sort of been through or had to mitigate, and just God, a lot of that, a whole lot of that, just so much. What did he do first? 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 And so I'm just the truth of the matter is, and I'm going to tell you right now, he seems like a pretty terrible human being, actually. Just from the little bit of the things that I've seen about him, just seems genuinely to delight on some level in causing problems for her. Not the kind of person I'm defending. I'm literally just, what does being a horrible human have to do with me saying I don't think footage of you being assaulted with metal stools being released should be met with this sort of response? Because in general, this is just bad for everybody. We're just all kind of going backwards with this one. And then also that's the thing. That's the thing. Is y'all could literally be correct. That's what I really want to make clear in my video. Anybody who's saying I've been in a similar situation as Taylor, and I know that this is possibly a case of him goading her into reactive abuse, you could be correct for sure. It's just, I know that it's not good. It can't be a good thing to look at videos of abuse and say, I bet he did something first. No matter what is driving that, even if it's your own experience with abuse, that's not justifying this sort of response. So they could be right. That's the thing. I I literally just do not want a bunch of people who are also survivors watching this content and feeling like I am, I don't know. I'm not even, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. I'm asking for a little bit of nuance. I also don't even think, that there's like anything wrong with speculating about this yourself. If you yourself have examined all of the things that are available and you've come to a conclusion that you believe that this thing happened, that is fine. I can't control, and I have no desire to dissuade you from that. I just, posting it online does literally have consequences, I guess. And it sucked for me this morning that the consequences were me getting like extremely triggered PTSD flashbacks and panic and anxiety over even talking about this topic in the first place, because I don't want to be misunderstood. So it's very tricky. Someone said, I personally have been triggered by the reality TV exploitation of it all. Like, it's a feeding frenzy. That's why you're not going to get, I'm not playing the footage in this video because it's literally just not useful stuff. It's not useful stuff. Someone said, isn't that still just victim blaming? Like, we would never say maybe a girl deserved the abuse because we've seen her yell at her partner. It all just feels icky. Yeah, I mean, again, people do say that. I do. One thing I really, really want to push back on, and I'm sorry, I'm telling my whole video even though I haven't started recording yet, but one thing I really, really, really want to push back on, not on you specifically, because I do think on some level you are correct that many of the individual people who are saying this, if the context were different, probably wouldn't say this because they might see it as being a little more destructive than they're currently seeing it. But I want to say in general, you can't like divorce this from the gendered element in a world where Chris Brown is still going around announcing brand new tours after we know what Chris Brown did. Christian Slater having a whole career despite being actually charged of, I don't remember what it was. I pulled it. Pulled it for this exact reason. Oh, convicted of punching his girlfriend in 97, but was pretty much fine after that. Charlie Sheen, you know, the domestic violence that he threatened to kill her, put a knife to her throat, and then the very next year, literally the very next year, was the highest paid actor on television. So I think right now a lot of people are getting very triggered by this gender comparison. And because I think it's triggering to say that when really it's not equal. It is not even. I know that some of the individual people might not be saying the things they were saying if quote unquote the roles were reversed, but honestly, if the roles were reversed, the man in this case would have a much higher chance of getting away with everything. Would he even get his show canceled? I honestly don't know. And so, again, that's why I want to make it really clear. That's not where I'm coming from. It's just, yeah. I just genuinely don't want to offend anybody because usually I don't give a single you know what about offending people on the internet, but when I do quite literally see that most of the people who are talking about this are survivors of domestic violence, yes, I care about not offending those people in the video. That would be, and I care because I'm also one of those people. So I'm just like, bro, I'm screaming over here. Somebody's right here saying this is so triggering as a survivor because people are fully buying into his narrative, maybe because they're not familiar with his BS. Not defending Taylor, but she is also at fault because she's also at fault. But seeing people solely blame her while acting like Dakota is a saint is making me sick to my stomach. People say he reminds me of it. I guess she's abusive and she's reacting to his abuse. I just don't. Is literally just my fear that like I'm just yet another big source of info, just spreading narratives that are causing people to feel really triggered because I'm not trying to see like what people are understanding where they're coming from. I've seen a lot of people say as survivors of domestic violence, they're just really, this has just been awful for them too. And yeah, I'm sure it has because same. And I don't feel like we're at odds with each other. I just deeply worry about coming off that way. I'm more so looking for some solidarity. Um, but I think it took me 34 minutes and I have explained my qualms in a way where I feel a lot calmer talking about it now. So that's a good thing. We can probably start the actual recording soon. God, I'm so disappointed. Yeah, I was going to be so proud of myself if I just sat here and like calmly talked about it. But that's just not where I was today. And I didn't want to like not talk about it on the off chance that it came out this way. It's really, really, really tricky. Someone say, you've got solidarity here. Yeah, I get, I do. I know I have solidarity here because I think in a live stream format, anything that I say, you can ask me what I meant and I can go back and forth. Honestly, I feel like in my videos this year, which I've already put out hella videos like 33, 34, 35, I've been doing a really good job of like feeding off of the live chat and making sure that my takes are well explained. I honestly just think in this case, the stakes have literally never been higher. Because if I piss off, I'm pulling a random example, an Ariana Grande stan, because I don't know, I was too unfair about her new album. Don't care. Yeah, but again, like me just being a man on the internet. Honestly, I should just say what I'm afraid of. Me being a man on the internet, making content that people feel like is dismissive of domestic violence survivors. I'm just like, literally, what was the point of me trying at all if I'm going to turn around and do that today? So that's also why, that's a really big reason why, even though you got the tail end of me being triggered, I really did handle most of, I handled most of my feelings off stream. Because the way I feel off stream is never actually usually conducive to a good video. I had to do the same thing, for the BAFTA incident. Do you remember that, where a slur, was uttered at the BAFTAs, and it was a whole thing. I myself had like a really strong reaction to that as a human being, which I'm entitled to. And then I sat with my feeling and I did research, and then I came to conclusions that were actually I'm really proud of and can stand on. Period. And I have to do that sometimes with some of my topics. Obviously, like if I see, I'm telling a story now, story time. When I saw that a slur was uttered at the BAFTAs, personally, I actually got really, really offended, really, really upset. And I was running on emotions that I deserve to feel, but don't translate to good content. And you have to do that a lot as a creator, or you should if you're making good content. After I sat with those feelings, that is when I was able to then fill it in with good practice. And so that's what I did earlier today, and last night, and ever since I heard about this, it's just been nonstop. I barely got any sleep, but literally just like I took all my feelings that I was feeling of just really triggered and really upset, and I thought about who is actually like saying what, and I realized honestly this does not need to be met with like aggravation on my part, because that's not productive to what I'm actually trying to say. So I filtered out a lot of my anger, honestly, and just, it was just hurtful. But yeah, someone said you were allowed to have the emotions, but yes, good content should attempt to see all sides from a conclusion and form a conclusion based on those facts. Exactly. Someone said seems really hard. Well, it's the same thing we all have to do. Someone said, why haven't you made a video about Epstein? Because I get very triggered by certain things, and you could count anything Epstein was responsible for to that list. But I do feel like I talk about Epstein quite a bit because obviously the implications of what he did and all of the people who were complicit in this overlap a lot with pop culture. So yeah, very, very harsh condemnation for me, but the Epstein files are not something I have a desire to do the process that I literally just said of taking all of my hurt and my anger, my upset, and setting that aside so I can make good YouTube content for something that everybody already knows. Essentially. But it's a decent question, though. All right. I think we're good, though. I think we're good. I feel better. We're only 40 minutes in. That's not that bad. Audio playing from somewhere on my computer, and I don't know why. I don't know where. Oh, no, there's not. I'm just hearing things. Okay, cool. I knew this would start. I knew it would happen to me at some point. I would just start hearing things on my stream. I swear to God, for a split second, something started releasing audio, and I have... Oh, it's my phone! My phone was telling me the weather. Okay, that's so funny. I didn't... What did I say out loud that made Google think I was asking what the weather was? That's so stupid. Would you like the hourly breakdown? No, I don't care what the weather is. You see me touching grass? I ain't touching grass. I ain't doing that. Someone said, D'Angelo, how can I send you a helpful TikTok from a domestic violence therapist on the topic? You can tell me their username. Actually, go ahead and do that right now. I would like to watch it. Someone said, what's the weather like, dog? The weather outside is actually quite pleasant. I don't want to be too specific, but it's like 70, 60 vibes. It's real nice. It's real nice. Someone said, I didn't get to finish your stream yesterday. Did you talk about Afro Man? No, I said I was going to, and then I didn't because it was such a long stream. Okay, I don't know where that chatter said that they had like a useful video. I don't know where they are. I would like to watch it, but if you can't find it, that's okay. Oh, you did. Sarah ZVC. Okay, let's see. Sarah ZBC TikTok. So which of these would it be? This one?
I'm a domestic violence.
Okay, hold on. I can't hear it. Oh, crap. Well, really my God. I hate using TikTok so bad, man. I really hate using TikTok so bad. Okay. Advanced audio properties. Let me fix it so that I can actually hear. I know y'all can hear, but mine's acting weird. Okay, chat. I'm not co-signing this video. I don't know who this person is, but hopefully it's good content. Or you know what I mean by good content, like useful info. Okay. Shout this person out.
I'm a domestic violence therapist in the state of Utah, and I wanted to offer some response to some commentary I've seen about the Taylor Frankie Paul video. Now, I'm not going to be offering any analysis or judgment of the specifics that happened between these two people. That would not be appropriate. But I do want to offer some general information and address some misconceptions that I've seen in some videos. For background, I've been certified in domestic violence counseling since 2017, and I'm in leadership in the organization in Utah that oversees domestic violence counseling. And every 3 months since 2021, I've been on the team that trains and certifies therapists to do domestic violence counseling.
Okay, qualifications. Go on then. I'm listening. I have my... Look, I'll put my other headphone on because that was a lot of qualifications.
First, reactive abuse, or when a long-term DV victim starts to fight back, is a thing, but it's not the only thing. I've seen people on here outright say that the only way a woman is violent toward a male partner is in reactive abuse. Reactive abuse can happen in male and female victims, and female domestic violence offenders do exist, even having never been abused themselves. There are also couples in what we call dual role domestic violence relationships where both have been abusive to and abused by the other. Dual role relationships are not the same as reactive abuse. And when therapists work with dual role clients, we are going to focus on both the offense and the victimization. I've seen videos.
I swear to God. Like, almost, I couldn't find this anywhere yesterday and this morning. I think just because, like, it was just so fresh and you were just getting people's initial things. But that thing that this person said is true of people literally saying, there's no way that this man was abused for no reason. He 100% pushed her into doing reactive abuse. It did happen a lot. So just so you know, I also saw what she was saying.
Videos questioning the police response in this situation. In Utah, the law tells police that if they go on a possible domestic violence call and they have found evidence that domestic violence has occurred, they have to make an arrest. If we have two people who are injured or two people who are accusing the other, the police have to determine, based on a set of criteria written into the law, who the predominant aggressor is, and that is the person that is arrested. When police are determining predominant aggressor, they can take into account the possibility of self-defense, but it can only be self-defense if it is a reasonable response or an equal response to what has happened. It cannot go beyond that. I saw a video today.
That's another thing that we're going to talk about today is I pulled, even though we're not going to look at the actual footage of the incident because, again, way too triggering, I pulled the arrest footage, and then I also found Taylor talking about it after the fact. Just one source of that being the case.
Today where someone said he must have done something to provoke her. There are relationships where an abusive partner will manipulate and provoke some kind of response from their victim and then use it against them. But there are also domestic violence offenders who will use "I was provoked" as an excuse for their violence, and it can be any number of things. And I've spent years of my career helping both offenders and victims understand that outside of self-defense, violence is not okay in a relationship, no matter what the provocation. And domestic violence.
That's true too, man. My commentary is so deeply smooth brain compared to all these facts and stuff that she's saying. But like, I will say genuinely, one thing that was really bothering me, like super bad. I see people mentioning someone else in chat and I may check them out. But one thing that was really, really, really bothering me was like people kept saying, essentially implying that anything that he was saying to her could have eventually been a reason or an explanation for why she began beating him by hurling metal stools in his direction, hard enough to injure his hand, hard enough to injure her own child who was near him. 3 stools, by the way. I also feel like enough people don't talk about the fact that she had him in a headlock at one point, and I guess I've been very stunned online trying to figure out what exactly, as this person said, like, it's not an excuse. Even if maybe there was a reason, which I am again not here to speculate on because I don't know what happened. It's quite jarring seeing it excused, even though people are also a lot of times saying we're not excusing it, but like in doing so, they kind of are.
In the presence of a child, which is a child abuse charge in Utah, is traumatic for kids and causes lasting damage to their developing brains. Finally, I've seen some videos that seem to excuse violence if the person committing the violent act is drunk or under the influence of some substance. While substance abuse can make an existing problem with violence worse, it does not cause violence. Which is why if we have a domestic violence offender who also has a substance abuse problem, we're going to do both types of therapy. But we're never going to excuse violence because of a substance. Those are the ones I have time for tonight. If I see more videos that are concerning, I will make more responses.
That's so interesting. Um, yeah, I think a lot of people need to hear this, chat. You yourself may not have needed to hear this because you might know everything that this person said, which by the way, great video. What was this person's account again? Sarah ZBC on TikTok. That's Sarah with an H, your friendly neighborhood therapist with PTSD. Um, like, this is really all I'm trying to say. I know right now there's going to be a lot of like weirdos coming out in full force to be like, oh, herder women, and then also like trying to act like the reactive abuse that people are saying is happening is not a thing. I know that reactive abuse is real, trust me. But I don't know that it happened, and also neither do you, you know? Gotta drink some water. Someone said she has a license for PTSD. Oh, I thought she was saying that she had PTSD. Sorry. Me laughing. It's not funny. It's just because I have PTSD. Yeah, no. But yeah, someone said it's wild how basic her take is, but how so many people are being willfully ignorant about it. Yes, sending you love, D'Angelo. I'm female, and the commentary was triggering for me too because I saw through it. Yeah, that's such a basic take. We really don't know. And then I think too, one thing that's like really tricky. Again, I promise you, this is not a defense, right? I'm just saying a lot of people are citing the reality TV show as a character witness, and I think a lot of people would they'll hear what we said here and be like, yes, we can't know, and then their next step will be like, well, if you watched the reality TV show The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and you see the way that Dakota acts, you will know that we are right and he is this way. And I'm just like, it's a reality TV show. So you could probably be correct for sure that the things out there in this show are real and he is this way, or not. I truly don't know. I saw a lot of people saying like, watch the show. And it's just like, oh man, it's really tricky. Someone said I have a hard time believing the same people who shame real victims suddenly want to defend one. Shame real victims suddenly want to defend one. It's tricky, man. It's tricky. Sometimes I'm sick of reality TV shows. I don't know. I watched one recently that was actually, I thought it was kind of interesting. Can I tell you about it? Because I need to change the topic for a second. By the way, if you watch this and you're like, D'Angelo, this is a horrible show and you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have watched this, you're supporting something bad. I randomly watched Muslim Matchmaker because it was there. And I was like, this seems dramatic. I want to know the tea. And I think it only had 8 episodes, or there were 8 episodes where I watched it. And I was like, you know what? It was kind of fire. I liked it. I personally, I don't know much about Islam, and I definitely was not using the show as like an instruction manual, but it was really interesting seeing like how they kind of balanced culture and then also the reality TV dating matchmaker element of it. It was really interesting. And I really liked the hosts. I thought they were super cool. They were super cool. Someone said I enjoyed it. Yeah, no, it was dope. Someone said I really like that Indian matchmaker. Maybe I should watch that one too. Dude, I love seeing diversity. They are gonna call me. They're gonna call me performative for this, but honestly, I'm DEI brained as hell. So I love watching shows about people and cultures that I personally don't have experience with, and I'm just like, oh damn, we be living all kinds of ways. And of course, not ever using any one source as an example for how an entire culture is, right? But what I thought was cool about this show was they had a bunch of different people here who were Muslim of all different like races and countries, and they practice in a bunch of different ways, which I thought was really interesting. It was super, super dope. So Shout out that show, and I hope we get some more episodes. Someone said, what's DEI? DEI is a derogatory term. Well, no, okay. DEI is something that, like, annoying conservatives try to turn into a derogatory term, but basically they apply it to any program that is designed to encourage diversity, equity, and inclusion. They'll say it's just DEI. And then they're so stupid that they'll just say it anytime you see, like, I don't know, the existence of a queer person somewhere or somebody who is a minority in any way. And they'll be like, oh, it's DEI. And jokingly, I reclaim DEI as a joke. I say sometimes, like, I'm a DEI streamer and I enjoy DEI content for sure. But yeah, no, it's so stupid. I hate the way that people have ruined that word, honestly. Someone said, like, woke. It's the same reason where woke meant something good and does still mean that, by the way. And then you have a bunch of people being annoying and calling you woke pejoratively. And so now I jokingly, proudly identify as woke. Yes, I'm woke as hell. I am a woke DEI streamer and will continue to be for the foreseeable future. Because if you're going to label me that way, I'm going to label myself that way first. Someone said I'm a DEI person. Yes, a lot of us are very DEI. Anyways, moving on. Gonna drink some water. And we're going to start this. Thank you for, by the way, I know that other people had other sources for other people with experience, counseling, domestic violence. And I'm going to go ahead and just use this one. And I'm going to add it to my outline, by the way. Congratulations for being the very first person to ever get me to add something to my outline. This was a stunningly succinct and clear source from a voice of reason that I think is going to make my video a lot stronger. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that at the end and basically just say, listen, this is the only thing that I'm advocating for. That way it'll be clear from the beginning what my stance is, clear throughout the middle, clear at the end. I already talked about why this would be triggering whatever earlier, so I don't even think I should be getting too upset about this. But yeah, fire. I mean, fire's kind of a frivolous word to use in this scenario, but you know what I mean, man. You know what I mean. All right. Someone said I just learned what pejorative means thanks to Z-Way. I love Z-Way. Wait. I'm finna be parasocial. I know that I should say I love Z-Way's work. And I'll rephrase it that way, but I'm sorry. This is one of the funniest people. Just nobody online is doing it like her. Have you ever watched any of her interviews? What are some ones that she's done recently? Oh, whoa, she had Tiffany New York Pollard on there? No. Oh, I gotta watch that. Yes, indeed. By the way, I know I come on here every day and talk about things I don't like, but contrary to popular belief, I actually do enjoy many things. And this channel would be one of them. God, she's so funny. I aspire to be this hilarious. I need to be this funny. It's not a want, it's a need, okay? Anyways, moving on. Someone said the Vince Staples and New York one are my faves. The Vince Staples one is my fave, so I need to watch the New York one, period. All right, re-recording. Everybody say hi to YouTube. Me checking to make sure I don't look too much like I'm crying. I was crying. No, they're never gonna know. Everyone say hi. Say hi. Someone said, D'Angelo, I just joined the stream and did not know what the title of this bachelorette cancellation is grim meant, and now I'm being handed domestic abuse stuff. I got no warning because I was early. Okay, hold on. I'm going to change the title of the stream. Okay, I changed the title of the stream. I put TWDV, trigger warning, domestic violence, and then I left the rest of it. And I'm also very sorry that that was triggering. I can completely understand why, but hopefully this will be less of a shock for people coming in. Okay, Anyways, sorry. Go back to saying hi again. Go back to saying hi. Someone said it does look like you were crying. Oh, well, what can you do? Going back to my outline. Okay. God, it does look like I'm crying. Okay, no. Screw this. It just makes me look even dewier. A reality TV show star got her entire season canceled 3 days before it aired because of a resurfaced video. And it's now sparking this very intense debate online, which I thought we should get into. If you don't know, I'm talking about Taylor Frankie Paul and the recent cancellation of The Bachelorette. Basically, ABC went all in by kind of risking it all to get one of the most controversial people in reality TV to be the new Bachelorette. And needless to say, it backfired very intensely. It wound up being millions of dollars of loss. Excuse me. Now, before we get into this video, I do have to give very strong trigger warnings for domestic violence. Okay. I think that's about fine for now. All right, you can stop saying hi. You can stop saying hi. Let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's just go ahead and get into it today. I feel like that intro did not do a good job of... I feel like that intro was very YouTube coded, but then there's also just the human part of me. You know what? I'm gonna follow it up by saying, and in addition to the trigger warning, I'd like to say this is just a really heavy topic for me personally. Okay, crazy cars in the background. And in addition to the trigger warning, I'd just like to say this is a pretty heavy one for me personally. So if that comes through, I'll explain why a bit later. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, there we go. I'll throw that one in there. I don't want to be a bummer. All right, Taylor Frankie Paul. Someone said, I think you're doing your best, don't question too much. I'm going to stop questioning it, honestly. I'm just going to full steam ahead. So this is Taylor. She is influencer. She's an influencer, as Google sums it up. I would say Taylor's a lot of things. She's most popular for being Mormon, believe it or not. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is the Hulu reality TV show that she's on. I'm here to tell you right now, I ain't never watched this. And actually, I hadn't heard of Taylor before this, but from what I understand, she has quite the reputation for being, shall we say, good TV. All right, drink some more water. More water, more water. In addition to her reality show, Taylor is also known for launching Mom Talk, which from my understanding, I need y'all to correct me if I'm wrong, is like the women from this reality TV show all in like a collective of loosely related TikTok accounts that is labeled Mom Talk. So she's popular not just on TV, but online as well. Someone said, those aren't very godly fits. Okay, I'm not here to make any jokes about Mormonism because I don't know anything about Mormonism, okay? Also, I would say lesser known than her TV show would be her support for Donald Trump, at least seemingly in 2020. But, you know, it's actually neither here nor there. Just felt like a somewhat relevant footnote. All right. Someone said the swinging scandal. Yeah, okay. Listen, I'm sure somebody has already done a much, much more cohesive dive into Mom Talk and all that entails, but I'm actually mostly here to talk about a 2023 incident. All right. Someone said, I swear Mormon influencers are such a different group of people from the Mormons I know in real life. Yeah, that's also why I try not to use individual people as reasons for why a whole group of people is bad, because I'm just like, this is TV Mormonism, and I don't know the difference between that and what many other people practice. So I'm not here to make any condemnations. Someone said, are you bald? I'm bald as hell. You ain't never seen on my other videos? You ain't never seen me in that profile picture, baby? What you mean? Hold on. I gotta dispel this. Me doing any and everything that I can to stall because I am appalled. Let's see. Wait, I don't even know where my profile picture is, to be honest. Oh, here I am. He cute. He cute. What you mean, are you bald? I could not be balder. You might say to yourself, oh, he could have just taken the hoodie off. No, I'm cold. This is not coming off today. But yeah, that's me. That's me. I love bringing up this profile picture because I think that's one of the nicest pictures I ever taken. It's a genuine smile. I don't be smiling a lot because I prefer looking dead, but I like this one. Someone said slay chrome shiny chrome dome. Yeah, exactly. All right, anyways. Someone said bald and proud. Yes. Okay, anyways. Due to her popularity on one TV show a few months ago, or in the middle of last year, Taylor was like, why not try my hand at this other TV show? Thus you get her saying, I'm sending this in for my chance as the next bachelorette. And at the time, the top 2 comments are, this didn't age well. You're going to see why. But at the time, actually, many people were very excited about this. Put her in, coach. Who's here after the... Oh, no, that's another... No, who's here after the announcement? That was after it was announced that she would be the Bachelorette. This would 100% bring the Bachelor franchise back to its prime, etc. She had a lot going for her, obviously, but there was simultaneously another group of people saying, we don't want somebody with these domestic violence charges being the new Bachelorette. Hold on. So give me 1 second. This is the part where I need to actually make sure that I am not getting a single word wrong. Okay, hold on. Okay, I found the source for this. Sorry, that took a while, but I have to be really careful with like charges and all of these things. You don't want to say somebody was charged with one thing and then they weren't actually. All right, pointing out that in 2023, Paul was initially charged with aggravated assault, child abuse, and domestic violence in the presence of a child. She pled guilty to the 1 count of aggravated assault, and the other charges were dismissed. So, somebody who was charged with aggravated assault, there was also some pushback saying we don't want that for the Bachelorette. Someone said you remind me to drink water. Yeah, I don't know why I am so dehydrated today. Is it because I'm crying, chat? Is that a thing? I have no idea. Someone said this is where I get so mad because they knew. Why did they cast her when they knew about all of this? For ratings. There is a lot of discourse right now about ABC. Why did they do this? And you're asking a good question. Greed. Taylor Frankie Paul is very polarizing. She gets clicks. She does really well on TikTok. They knew that despite this happening in the past, she was still going to make for a really dramatic season of The Bachelorette, hence hiring her. Someone said it's a thing. That's crazy. I did not realize that. Okay. Just knocking back this water, man. I can't stop knocking back this water. All right. So anyways, pulling out this clip. All right, so I'm gonna have to turn this one up. There's a lot of talk about this specific incident for which she was charged that took place in 2023, and until recently the only thing that existed was body cam footage and a police report detailing what happened. I kind of want to show you bits and pieces from that. Okay. With the caveat that I'm not actually here to speculate on what did or did not happen. I just think you should know what was said by Taylor about this event straight from the source. So going to 2. Hold on, chat. I got to make sure I'm pulling the right thingies. Okay, 242.
I pushed him. I hit him. He pushed me. I don't want to think about it.
While conversing with...
I pushed him. I hit him. He pushed me. I don't know what to think about it. She told the police essentially that they were pushing each other. And then at one point, she began hitting him. Let's see. 12, 37, 52. I know this might be kind of hard to hear, but it's a little difficult.
Okay, and then what happened when you guys pulled up?
We were still fighting, and then I got out, and he threw me into the wooden thing, which is why I reacted to that. And I went ballistic when he pushed me into the wooden thing. And I was like, I guess, fighting back with him.
At one point, she definitely makes it sound like he pushed her first. And then, but I think she was intoxicated in this clip, and it was kind of important for me to find a calmer explanation of this once she had time to present her story. So instead of using this specific clip in which it's not exactly clear what happened, here she is later discussing the incident on this podcast, Cheers with Avery. Someone said, wasn't this in season 1 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives? Yes, it was, which I'm like, what is going on in that show? But anyways.
Hurting. Yeah. And so it started with sadness. I was crying at a
Okay, hold on. I'm going to turn this up. So she's just been talking about essentially how she's just been talking about how she was upset on the car ride back home with Dakota, the man who was the word I want to use. The man who was he's a victim, right? Obviously, if you're being hit with a chair. Sorry, this is a really tricky one, chat. So this is her explaining that she was experiencing, rough emotions on the car ride back with Dakota, who is the man who was in a released video clip being abused, her throwing chairs at him. We haven't even gotten to the stools yet, but here's... Jesus, this is hard. Okay. Sorry, man. I just, on some level, like, this is why... Okay. We're gonna be fine. This topic sucks. I want that to be known. Let it be known. Let the record reflect this topic absolutely effing sucks, man. It sucks really bad. And I know that we get like a really bad rap here on YouTube of just being like completely desensitized to everything we're talking about, but I am not desensitized to domestic abuse, no matter who is experiencing it. So it's just really hard to do the very like calm and chill delivery of like, yeah, she was like hurling metal stools at him. We haven't even gotten to the stools yet, but that's okay. I'm fine. I'm okay. I know. I'm sorry. That might have been a little scary as an outburst, but I'm literally just trying to collect myself a little bit. Okay, yeah, I can cut that part. The reason that Taylor wound up getting arrested was not because of any shoving. It was because she began hurling metal stools at Dakota, the man who was in an actual video of this that was released later being abused, hitting him. One of these stools actually glanced off of her and hit her child that she had with a previous partner. We are not going to watch that video in this video because I don't think that's a useful addendum. It's incredibly triggering, but here is here is Taylor later sober talking about what actually happened on that night. Okay. That's a usable take. Also, can I take a levity break? Because I need one, chat. I need a levity break. Okay. I don't believe in gender. As a non-binary man. But I will say Taylor a lot of times can be a man's name, obviously. And Frankie is usually a man's name, and Paul is usually a man's name. So Taylor, Frankie, Paul, in my mind, I keep wanting to say he. Because 27 years of gender, despite one of the most popular Taylors in the world being a woman, I keep wanting to say Taylor, Frankie, Paul is the dude. And Dakota, because Dakota a lot of times can also be a woman's name. These are all gender neutral names. I think all names are gender neutral, but yeah, I'm struggling so bad with these pronouns. Someone said DEI is back. I know. It's so bad. Okay, no. Taylor, Frankie, Paul is a woman. Dakota Mortensen is a man. I'm not going to get it twisted. Someone said, I get that. It can be tricky keeping track of these things. Okay, so anyways, back into the levity. Here is Taylor describing what happened. Or no, not back into the levity. Taking a break from the levity, back into the heaviness, back into the gravity. Here is Taylor describing what happened.
It fucking hurt. Like everything, I was like hurting.
Yeah.
And so it started with sadness. I was crying to Dakota, like hysterically bawling that I was so sorry for everything I've done to not only him, but my ex, my life, everything. I was like hysterically bawling. I remember that. We get home and it turns to anger, like full on anger. Like I was a different person. And I went crazy. I was throwing things.
And this was in your house with Dakota?
Yes.
Okay.
And so
someone said I'm confused. Was a new clip put out, or are we just covering old stuff? A new clip was put out yesterday that you might not have seen. I really do want to emphasize here that like Taylor herself has at one point actually said she just totally went off on this man, hence the chairs. I'm truly just presenting her words here.
I didn't know my daughter was downstairs on the couch. They're usually in their beds when I'm home. We had a babysitter. I came home and she was on the couch and I was throwing stuff. And so I threw a chair towards him. And
At Dakota?
yeah.
Okay.
And so I was charged with child abuse because it could have hurt her. And
A lot, obviously, quite extreme. All right, so moving forward to 3411. Notably, I believe in this podcast, Taylor claims that she did not actually hit the child with the chair. I will tell you, Dakota said that this happened. It's in the police report, and also the video certainly it makes it seem like that's what happened. So I can only talk about what I've seen.
is a charge.
But it didn't hit your daughter.
No.
Who called the police?
Our neighbor.
Oh.
Because she thought I needed help. I was screaming.
At one point in the video, Dakota says, "You hit your daughter." And she says, "No, you did this." So being on a podcast later and saying, "Actually, I didn't hit her." Odd. Also, her saying the neighbor called the police because the neighbor thought that Taylor herself needed help, but that wasn't really the case.
Who called the police?
Our neighbor. Oh. Because she thought I needed help. I was screaming so much. And so she's like, I think she needs help over there. Like, and he was trying to calm me down. And I was just like throwing everything. I was so angry. And I was like, I mean, as we all know, like I was trying to attack him. And I assaulted him. And I put, like, you know, I took it all out on him. And so.
Like you physically assaulted him?
Yeah. And I did get, like, I got charged with that. Right now, I'm like on pro.
If you're wondering why I'm playing all of these statements, it's just useful information. As you're going to see later, there's going to be a lot of talk about, actually, let's justify or explain away why chairs were being thrown. But at one point, Taylor Frankie Paul herself did say she was just doing that. And then the last clip I have from this podcast would be 3506. God, this is so strange. Okay, here we go.
Like a horrible, horrible time. And
So they came, investigated, and then they took you to jail.
yeah. Because there was enough evidence there that I was like the aggressor.
Damn.
Yeah, and I was. Like, I was. And so they took me to jail.
There was enough evidence there that I was the aggressor, and I was. So they took me to jail. And then also just her testimony on the night thereof of saying, I hit him, or he pushed me in the garage, and then I got mad and I threw chairs at him. These are the only things that we actually have. And then the third thing would be the police report. All right. Going to make this a little bigger. Oh, sorry. Oh, wow. These are tiny words. It's hard to do this. Okay. So we're obviously not going to read this entire police report because that's not, there's a lot going on here. But it's essentially saying, sorry, I'm so bad at this. It's essentially backing up that she said the same thing. Wait, hold on. Oh, here we go. Sorry, chat. I hate tiny text sometimes. Okay. It's essentially her saying the same thing. Taylor was drinking at a girls' night. Dakota picked her up. Taylor was emotionally hurting. Oh, also, by the way, Dakota and Taylor both agreed that on the car ride back, Dakota was cussing her out, apparently. And Taylor was extremely upset. Dakota and Taylor pushed each other in the garage. And then Taylor stated she hit Dakota, did not want to think about it. After returning home, they began fighting. Taylor was going at Dakota when Dakota pushed her into the kid stuff. After being pushed, Taylor said she went ballistic. And then after this is when you get the stool incident. Dakota himself told a similar story, essentially saying he pushed her because he was trying to get her out of the way, and he told her that her violence was affecting her child and that she continued the violence after this fact, and then she was arrested from this scene. So I'm telling you right now, all we had at one point was what Taylor herself said. It was public knowledge. It was used as fodder for the first episode of her reality TV show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. But now it's kind of turned into a really contentious debate about actually what if Dakota himself initiated all of this, and was this reactive abuse? Which reactive abuse is a real thing that we're going to get into a bit later. All right, zooming back out. Give me a sec, chat. I'm trying to fix my zoom. Okay. And then I will say this, no matter what happened or who did what to whom, this right here, to me personally, is just a bizarrely callous way of talking about this after the fact. So you see her joking on her TikTok at one point. Tip, don't throw things. You might just see police lights, you know, with this expression. Over 700,000 likes. So people just kind of, haha, oh my gosh, she's so wild. I would say don't throw things, or you just might wind up injuring your child through sheer negligence. Maybe that's a good reason to not hurl heavy metal stools at your partner. Dakota said at one point that he was fearing for his life because of the weight of these stools, but in general, the way that Taylor has talked about this in certain places is concerning, okay? I do think it's I'm going to leave it at that for now. So yesterday, and we're not even going to get into it because it's TMZ and I could not think of a worse source. TMZ reveals the actual video of the incident. And that's where you see additional things where she has him at one point what I could only describe as a headlock. You hear the child screaming, mommy, and all of these things. I'm sorry. I'm really like going somewhere just thinking about this. So I'm not going to describe in detail what's in the video. Most likely many of you may have seen it. If you do plan on watching it yourself, I will caution you. It's quite triggering content. Okay. All right. So moving past this, we can move on from the actual incident and now talk about the fallout. So despite the fact that the arrest footage I showed you was literally from 2023, her talking about it on the podcast 2023, it being the subject of an episode happened years ago, because the footage that came out yesterday was so horrific and ABC could no longer ignore the fact that having somebody with this aggravated assault charge be the new bachelorette is just not a good thing to do. Pulling this source from AP. ABC cancels bachelorette season with Taylor Frankie Paul, citing the 2023 video. So it's not happening anymore. What is quite interesting about this is it was already filmed. So ABC is going to lose millions and millions of dollars that they could have just kept by not filming this with this specific person in the first place. Pulling up the $1 million fiasco. ABC will lose tens of millions of dollars if Taylor Frankie Paul's The Bachelorette doesn't air. It turns out it's not airing, so Variety thinks that this is going to be a bit of a problem. Of course, an entity like ABC can afford to just blow 10 million. Chuck Norris dead. Oh, wow. Chuck Norris, action icon and Walker, Texas Rangers star, dies at 86. Damn, I have such mixed feelings. I love the idea of Chuck Norris so much. I love me a good Chuck Norris meme. Chuck Norris the human, not like a great guy. Actually, that is insanely downplaying the fact that he was a Trump supporting conservative, but like that, so I'm not excusing it. Multiple things can be true. Let me tell you my favorite Chuck Norris joke. One time, the most venomous snake in the world bit Chuck Norris while he was filming an action movie. And after 6 excruciating weeks, the snake finally died. I love Chuck Norris jokes. They're so funny. One of them, was one of the stupidest ones I've ever seen, was like, Chuck Norris doesn't wear a watch. He just decides what time it is. So Chuck Norris as like a cultural concept, enamored. Someone said I thought he was a fictional character. Yeah, Chuck Norris is a fictional character. If you weren't there for Chuck Norris jokes, dude, that was an era. They were so good. I swear to God. But like, oh no. Oh no. Hold on. Let's be a little bit distracted right now because I could use it. Even though he died and dying is serious. I'm not trying to use someone's death as a levity break. But am I? Oh, you can tell they're hard at work editing this Wikipedia. Yeah, no. I'm going to tell you my Chuck Norris story right now. Girl, I thought he was dead. Okay, let's just be honest. When the Chuck Norris meme was happening in like the 2010s, I literally thought this man was already dead. I knew that he was. I was like, yeah, Chuck Norris was such an icon. Only to find out later when people are like, Chuck Norris is a Trump supporter. And I was like, he's alive? So me finding out that Chuck Norris was actually still alive was when it was revealed to me, info that had been public for a very long time, that Chuck Norris was a Republican and an outspoken conservative. He traveled to Iraq to visit U.S. troops. He supported Huckabee's campaign in the Republican presidential primaries. I'm pretty sure he was homophobic. I mean, obviously you are, right? Oh, nah. What you mean you visited Israel multiple times and voiced support for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? You went to where and did what? I didn't even realize all that was happening or happened. Nah. I did know about him signing an endorsement deal with Glock, gun manufacturer, at a time when so many people were talking about school shootings because there was an uptick in them. Oh, nah. So, rest in something, Chuck Norris. Lord, God, why? Someone said he went straight downstairs. Yeah, no. I think the craziest thing to me about all of this is you don't got to do all that. You don't have to do all that. You don't actually have to live your life this way. You are already popular. You are already universally beloved. The subject of memes in which everybody is just joking about how cool you are. But you were like, oh, I want to be a regular columnist for the far-right website, WorldNet Daily. Why? Why are people like this, man? It's a no. Someone said, I'll say it. Rest in peace. Someone said that. I didn't say that. I just read that. But Lord almighty. But yeah, no, it's still sad that he died. But when I say sad that he died, I mean sad that my idea of him wasn't even real. Chuck Norris for me died when I found out that he was a Trump supporter, if I'm being quite honest. But yeah, I probably will rethink my Chuck Norris jokes in the future before casually dropping those. But yeah, the more you know, the more you know. Anyways, getting back into this. All right, so trigger warning. By the way, I know I have a trigger warning in my title. Trigger warning if you just joined the stream within the last 5 minutes and we're talking about Chuck Norris. I'm now switching back into the topic I was in the middle of, which is about domestic violence. So it's going to be very heavy. All right, so I'm going back to my topic. Okay. I will say in the time leading up to make this bigger. In the time leading up to the release of this footage, Taylor's comments on all of this I just find to be so odd. She did seem to mostly just be upset that this was all resurfacing during her big moment. Excuse me. It's another premiere that's been taken away from me. She says, I've never enjoyed a premiere for any one of my shows, so it's just been very sad. This is in a statement to you, or a statement to Us Weekly, where she says, it's been hard and it sucks to be in this position, and the mother that I am, that is something I will always That is something I will always stand my ground on. I believe that I'm a good mother and have always treated my kids very well. So the headlines that are out right now are very hard to see because that's not the truth of it. I've always treated my children with respect and I've never touched them. So it's been really hard. The headlines saying that your child was hurt as a result of domestic violence, Taylor. Trying to convince us currently that she's actually a great mother. I think, can I talk about from, we're getting heavy. I told you already, we're back into the heavy stuff. This is probably not going to go in the video because it's just very personal. But you know what was actually the most triggering part of that video for me personally? The child, she didn't even react until she was hit. Dude, like, I'm literally talking about you're in an environment where your mother is like hurling, screaming and hurling heavy objects towards you, essentially with the intention of hitting her estranged partner. That child just laid there, just didn't say anything, didn't so much as nothing. And only when the child was actually hit by one of these stools, she starts crying. That for me was the part that was like, whoa. That was incredibly triggering for me, I think. God, someone said I just came in, I didn't know it was going live today. Yeah, this is quite the interesting stream to tune into, and I'm sorry for all the heaviness, but yeah, no, that for me was, I was just like, man, I can't watch this. I cannot rewatch this. I don't want to show this to other people. No. Someone said scary, you have to shrink. Someone said relatable, unfortunately. Yeah, no, I unfortunately understood that reaction of just like, just gonna stay here, mind my own business, and then still getting caught in this crossfire. But anyways, moving on though from that. After the release of this video, Taylor then says, this is Dakota's fault. The man that she was hurling these things at, he's actually just jealous and desperate, and that's why this video has now surfaced. It's seen the light. In a statement to People, a spokesperson for Taylor says, "It's sad to see the latest installment of his never-ending, desperate, attention-seeking, destructive campaign to harm Taylor without any regard for the consequences for their child." She was on TV on Good Morning America talking about like, ugh, this sucks because, again, like, this was literally supposed to be my moment. Like, what are we even still doing here talking about this stuff? I'm literally not even mischaracterizing this. Gonna turn this up.
Honestly, it's been a heavy time to see the headlines, especially during this time of The Bachelorette being released, and it's supposed to be a really exciting time. I'm a person that will always speak my truth, and that's what I'm known for, and so when the time is right, I will be. But right now, just trying to be in the present moment and focus on this. But the thing is my kids do come first. Mm-hmm. My kids come first, and so it's been like just a back and forth process, trying to be here in the present moment, worrying about, home and headlines. Right. It's been stressful, to be honest.
We did reach out.
So, interesting take a couple days ago, but yeah, part of what's driving a lot of this right now is filming on, hold on, let me pull that one up so make sure I have it. Oh, I pulled the wrong source. Hold on, chat. Okay, here we go. Part of what's driving all of this is because now, allegedly, there's another domestic violence incident in which both she and Dakota are making allegations against each other. A spokesperson said confirmed there's an open domestic assault investigation regarding Paul and Dakota, and the spokesperson confirmed allegations have been made in both directions and that contact was made with the involved parties just last month, and did not share more. Obviously, it's an ongoing investigation. And so people are saying that her other show, they had to stop filming because of this. Now, it's very deeply important for me to say right now, any sort of allegations of domestic violence that Taylor is making, she could have experienced. She really could have. I'm not here to say that Dakota is innocent because I don't know him. And disbelieving people who speak up is not a good thing. In fact, Taylor's official comments. Woof, my bad. Okay, a little better. Taylor's official comments after everything was canceled was to come forward and say she has suffered extensive mental and physical abuse. So, trying to go to her, make this a little bigger. Close this. I forgot to highlight this one. Okay. Oh my God, where? Sorry, chat. Hold on. I forgot to highlight this. This is a long statement. Oh, here it is. There are two. She says, Taylor is very grateful for ABC support as she prioritizes her family's safety and security. After years of silently suffering extensive mental and physical abuse as well as threats of retaliation, Taylor's finally gaining the strength to face her accuser and taking steps to ensure that she and her children are protected from any further harm. There are too many women who are suffering in silence as they survive aggressive, jealous ex-partners who refuse to let them move on with their lives. Taylor has remained silent out of fear of further abuse, retaliation, and public shaming. She is currently exploring all her options, seeking support, and preparing to own and share her story. So that's the latest thing that Taylor Frankie Paul has said about this. And again, as somebody who does not have any additional information beyond the things I've shared, I don't have any additional comment. I will say this. There is a lot more footage of her talking about this. I only pulled a couple things on purpose because I'm not trying to do a deep dive here. I just want you to see at times she talks about these incidents very differently, which doesn't actually mean that she's lying about anything. The reason I bring this up is because now you're getting a lot of speculation from people like me who similarly don't know what's going on, and yet they're making these sweeping generalizations involving a lot of victim blaming and things that I myself have found quite triggering. All right. Let's take a break. How am I doing, chat? Am I doing okay? If you've been here for the whole time, am I doing okay? Someone said her whole statement takes no accountability for her own abusive actions, not saying she didn't also face abuse, but come on. Yeah, that statement definitely, people didn't see any sort of acceptance. However, the fact that Taylor casually references these things in podcasts and has admitted it at times over the years, other people see as accountability. But yeah, I'm trying over here. I'm really doing my best. Thank you. People are complimenting me, and I purposely asked for compliments this time because I need them, honestly. Like, sanity check on my end. This is a wild one. Someone say you're flawless and articulate. Not flawless, but very articulate. Yes. I do feel quite like clear thus far about what I'm trying to say. And man, I'm really grateful to be able to do this live. Okay. Can I just say that? I'm really grateful. Doing this sort of thing in a room by yourself sucks. It's so bad to just like sit around and be like, oh my God, do I make the world worse? What am I doing? But just being able to be like, is this coming across to y'all? Do y'all need clarification in real time? I feel like I'm actually talking to people, which is how I used to feel when I made videos a long time ago. But then you get a lot of views or something. Somebody said I'm up to like, did someone say I'm like 1,000 subscribers away from 700,000? I don't even know if that's true because I don't look at my own channel. But like, if that's the case, 700,000 subscribers is scary as hell. And recently I've been forgetting that like it's real people that I'm trying to talk to and have real conversations with. Someone said, I'm impressed you're doing this live. I'm glad it's a good way for you to make this video. Yeah, I really went back and forth because I was like, I can just record this by myself, put it out there. But I was like, even on the off chance that you wind up getting a few bumpy moments like the beginning of the stream, I still feel happier. I feel more secure. $6.99. Nice. I feel more secure like this way. It makes me a lot happier. So I'm appreciative of witnessing all this. We're gonna try today. We're gonna try today. That's the thing. I believe no matter what actually happens on the internet, it does not have to turn into hell. Is that not a crazy take? That's literally the thesis of my channel, this third channel right here, where we do these streams and I put out these simple videos. I just constantly keep testing this thesis. I think no matter what happens on the internet, the discussion around it does not have to turn into hell for everybody. And I think thus far, we have really been proving this, no matter how complex something is. Now, granted, there are some things that I just, again, I'm completely unwilling to get into because, buddy, I don't know how to unpack this. But this kind of work that I feel like we're doing, I'm appreciative of it. And yeah, I'm being parasocial AF right now, but forgive me. Forgive me. All right. Someone said, I'm a returning sub from years and years ago. This is my first thing of yours I've seen in a long time and it's helping me feel better. Well, that's wonderful. And I'm glad to see you again. I really am. All right. See, that was parasocial. I can't really see this person, but you are a real person, okay? I tend to believe that I do not speak to an audience full of bots, and it makes me feel more, like, grounded. Also, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. A parasocial relationship is still a relationship. Don't go tell people I said that, because that is a very unpopular take. But listen, it's obviously not real. You don't know me, and I am still being filtered through my purposeful presentation towards you. But you individually do have a relationship to this content that I'm creating, and I also have a distant, not actual stand-in for knowing people relationship with the people consuming my content. So I have actually never even seen anything too horrific about the parasociality of it all. As long as you're not using it as an excuse to like, don't defend me against things I don't need to be defended against. Don't act in a way, honestly, where people are just going to say he has the worst fan base ever. But honestly, hello, I'm a person here. People, whatever. Anyways, moving on. All right. Another trigger warning. I know that I've given like 3, but I will give as many as I need. If you joined recently in the last couple minutes, I've been joking around and laughing, but we're going to get back into today's topic, which is about domestic violence. All right. So let's go ahead and start with the way that I want to talk about now the way people are talking about this online. And let's go ahead and talk about how people are reacting in Dakota's comment section. It's not good. All right. Yeah, that's a good segue, decent segue. Let's see. Moving to Dakota's comments. All right. So the last pic that Dakota posted 4 days ago, I'm not even going to scroll too far. People who think he's innocent have no effing clue what they're talking about. He's planning everything. If he can't have her, no one can. He's making that for damn sure. Top reply. You sold the video to TMZ? Really? Who does this? It's, I will say, not actually clear how TMZ acquired this video. Their wording made it sound like with it being part of the investigation from 2023, they were able to access it. But regardless, let's just keep going. FYI, you selling the video to TMZ in no way makes you the good guy and all this. You still suck. Did you release that video on your kid's birthday? Congrats on taking zero responsibility for everything for anything ever. And then this is the part that we get right here. The goal is reactive abuse. The narcissist, we're labeling Dakota a narcissist here, pushes the victim's buttons, poking, yelling, or insulting them until the victim finally explodes in anger. we're saying this is actually Dakota's goal. Then captures this reaction on camera, omitting the intense provocation that led to it, controlling the narrative via Darvo, deny attack, reversing victim and offender. Okay. This happens. That, if you take nothing else away from this video, take this away. Everything that is in this paragraph about reactive abuse and Darvo tactics is real. It's a form of abuse, trying to goad people into doing this. This is not my opinion. This is, later I'm going to share actual facts from people who are licensed to talk about this. What I'm here to say is that there's no evidence in the video that was released of him being abused that that's what he was doing. He could have been doing it. I know this is going to be a struggle for some people. Both of these things are true. It is 100% true that this could have been an incident of reactive abuse. And it's also true that we don't know. My follow-up to that is me personally having unfortunately had experience with domestic violence, seeing a bunch of comments online definitively saying that a video in which somebody is being assaulted is 100% that person's fault because that was their goal, to get abused on purpose, is very jarring. And it was actually really hard to read. Okay. I said that so calmly. Damn. Someone in chat said, awkward because if you've ever seen Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Dakota is absolutely an abusive person. They're terrible to each other. I will say right now, a lot of people are saying you have to watch the show and then you will see. It's actually pretty clear in this case that Dakota is abusive towards her, at least in terms of cheating on her. At least that's how it's. Oh, you got to be really careful with your wording. If you watch the reality show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, the behavior depicted in that show from Dakota is abusive, cheating on her, actually often goading her into being upset. But this is yet another sort of data point in this story. That doesn't mean a video of her beating the hell out of him with metal stools is reactive abuse. And it's also just complex when Taylor herself has indicated very calmly that she was the aggressor in the scenario. So still, despite Dakota's terrible behavior and him just seeming not to be a good person, I find it quite awkward sitting here and trying to explain that even an abusive person or a horrible, awful human doesn't deserve to be physically assaulted. Not that anybody was suggesting that was the case, just as you're going to see, actually people are saying he deserved it, and we'll get to that in a second. Someone said the main victims are those kids. I'll talk about that at the end. Reading. Someone said two things can be true. Both of them can be abusive. Dakota, as I said earlier, absolutely can be abusive. And Taylor has said that that's the case. I'm not here to disbelieve that. Moving on, though, from that specific thing, I want to show this conversation is happening not just in his comments, but almost anywhere that this is being discussed. Pulling. So this is just, I don't know, is this a podcast? This is another Instagram account posting about this, and you have people saying like, Can we all agree that Taylor does need to be held accountable? But why is a video from 2023 being released and all of this from the DV event we already knew about? Why is it coming out when she's at her highest point in her career? It seems calculated. We need to hold both of them accountable. Saying it's just so convenient. All of this stuff comes out before her premiere. The video resurfaced conveniently and she's already addressed it. This is Dakota. He can't let her win. All of these things could certainly be true. I think I will say once again, it's very jarring to see footage of somebody being abused released and then much of the discourse being like, oh yeah, well, why is it coming out now? I hear this a lot in regards to other scenarios in which people experience abuse, and it's no less jarring this time. Despite the circumstances, which again, I don't actually know or have a way of knowing. Reading chat. Someone said this is why victims don't come forward. It's certainly why I didn't. But yeah, you see people saying things like, I'm starting to see why she never could fully get out of his grasp. He had this blackmail on her and likely threatened her with it every time she tried to move on. It was already public knowledge. The police report that we read, which is honestly, it includes a transcript of what happened in the video, or not transcript, it includes a recounting of what happened in the video, has been public knowledge since 2023. And also, again, this could be true. Perhaps he did release it to sabotage her, but it's still a horrific video of someone being or experiencing aggravated assault for which she pled guilty to. So someone said it's a complex situation. I would agree. I think usually I like to say, oh, it's not that complex, etc. Two things can be true. No, many things are happening, but I'm kind of purposely doing like a bit of an iceberg here to show you what people are saying and the main thing that I'm trying to draw attention to here. Okay, so moving on to you're simultaneously getting pulling this from Reddit. You're simultaneously getting people kind of speed running all of the typical victim blaming that you usually see. In this case, you have a former Bachelorette star posting on her Instagram. A lot of you have asked my opinion on the new Bachelorette, Taylor. I saw there's some allegations about her, but I don't know anything about that. So I'm not going to comment. All I can do is share my experience. The absolute truth is that she was lovely, truly wonderful. Then later when people are like, yo, coming out when somebody has these allegations and also things that they pled guilty to and saying, well, they were nice to me, isn't really something that we should be doing. And this person says, a few people felt triggered by my post this morning saying that Taylor was nothing but lovely to me. And I totally understand that. Truthfully, I haven't read anything about the allegations against her and still haven't. I simply wanted to comment on what she was like at the reunion special. Okay. And still haven't is crazy. What do you mean you still haven't? People are saying she harmed her child in a domestic violence incident. This is just, dare I say, not the greatest time to come forward and say, well, she was nice to me. Someone said rage baiting. It does feel like rage bait, and I honestly almost don't even think it was. It's the wildest part. Moving on to this one right here. Or I would. Oh, come on. I opened this link earlier and it worked, and now it's not. Oh, okay, here we go. You have a lot of people, and I do mean a lot of people, joking online about this. I really don't care that Taylor Frankie Paul beats Dakota. I love women in male-dominated fields, posted with the caption, He deserves it too. LMFAO. Hashtag Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It was at this point during me trying to find just things to talk about. It was at this point where just me trying to analyze this discourse just so I could talk about it to you became incredibly triggering for me personally. I'm not going to go into detail, but I never came forward when I experienced domestic abuse, and it was actually because I knew that this thing was going to happen. Unfortunately, currently, I think my end goal for me, I just want to be able to tell one person what actually happened. I've never been able to do it. I do hope at some point I can figure that out, but in the interim, I think part of the reason it's something that I don't even know how to say out loud is because people can be like this online and in real life, and that's why I found this all to be really triggering, because no matter what is true about this scenario that we genuinely do not know, this sort of rhetoric has to be called out as far as I'm concerned. So that's my 2 personal cents. I'm not gonna turn the rest of this into a spiel, but I think many people were quite triggered by this from what I was seeing. And you look at the comments, it's the same energy. All I thought was, what did he do first? Someone said Taylor and Dakota's Darvo. They might be right. I understood her and just minded my business. Like, I still want to see her bachelorette season. I feel bad for the children. Okay, finally a take that doesn't come across as wildly callous. Now, what you're getting a lot right now in this scenario is people saying, imagine if the roles were reversed. Imagine if the roles were reversed. Would you all be saying this? You know, obviously you would be saying, oh, put him under the jail if he hurled metal stones at her. I don't believe that's a good analogy, or I don't believe that's a good framework for thinking about this at all, because imbalances do exist. If the roles were reversed, the cards would be 100% stacked against Taylor, the woman in this scenario. I shouldn't have to tell you how common it is that men are even on camera or charged with or are pleading guilty to beating their partners, beating women, and then going on to have successful careers, not even getting their things canceled. So I really want you to know, I'm not here today to tell you, imagine the roles were reversed. I don't think the roles should have to be reversed for us to see this as wrong. That's how I feel. Pulling. In a world where Chris Brown is announcing a new tour after, even now, almost 2 decades after what he did to Rihanna, where someone like Christian Slater can be convicted of punching his girlfriend in the 90s and then still go on to be Christian Slater. Charlie Sheen at one point threatening, it's not loading, okay. Charlie Sheen at one point threatening his wife at gunpoint, threatening to kill her, and then the very next year, being the highest paid actor on TV, according to Forbes. You don't have to reverse the roles in this scenario, because I think there are many complications to that framework. I just want people to stop victim blaming, because it's very horrible. And it's pretty much some of the most egregious stuff that I've seen in a long time. It's what I'm throwing out there. Now, for all the people who are using this as a jumping off point to talk about reactive abuse, in which somebody does goad you into reacting and they purposely record you, that way you look like you're instigating and all of these things. I don't wish to talk over these people, because this is a thing that people should know about, and I don't even think everybody does. All I'm saying is things like this specifically are wrong. Okay, gonna pull this TikTok. I'm going to... Oh, I guess I'm just playing the whole thing. Okay, let me bump the audio. Volume master. Okay. I'm gonna make it bigger. This TikTok has hella views.
So you're telling me Dakota just picked up his phone and started...
Hold on. I'm gonna turn it up a little more for you. Maybe like 350. Okay. If it's a little quiet, sorry, chat. Doing what I can. Oh, what?
So you're telling me Dakota just picked up his phone and started recording Taylor Frankie Paul, not provoked, nothing had gone on, she just started going crazy because that's what she does. No, what you see is reactive abuse. You are only seeing a young girl, I think she's 21 here, at a breaking point. You don't...
She was 28 in that video, actually. But by the way, no matter what her age was, she doesn't deserve to get abused. But I would just like to throw that out there.
See what he did to provoke her in this video. You don't see the abuse, whether it been physical or emotional, on her. He picked up his phone and started recording after everything he did to provoke her, to get a reaction out of her. And I'm not saying that it's okay, but she's 21. Her darkest moment is being recorded with a toxic relationship, a toxic man.
He is a toxic man. She is in a toxic relationship. And this thing does happen. But as this person is even admitting, we don't have the full video and thus have no way of knowing if that's what happened in this instance. And the implication that this must be what happened is what I'm struggling with a lot. If you were to go to the comments for that one, pulling... I don't even want to go to the comments. I screenshotted this on purpose. If you go to the comments for this, one person just saying you don't know this, which is literally my thesis for this video. You don't know this because we can't know this. And people saying, actually, we do. There's facts and there's opinions. She's wrong about the age. But those who are educated and informed about abuse know this is very true. Yes, we do. We know because we've been in her position or know psychologically and patterns behind it. Yes, if you've been through this or have witnessed it, you know. I'm deeply sorry for anybody who has been in her... I'm sorry for anybody who is familiar with the behavior that's being described here. I am. And also, it's not clear that that's what's going on, and insisting actually that the person being abused must have instigated it is still harmful. You also get all kinds of victim blaming in this case. So the daughter was in the room as Taylor was throwing chairs at Dakota, and Dakota ran to go stand by her daughter. Why did he do that? Why did he walk away from the person throwing chairs at him? Someone said, I just commented about this. If you know that you're the target, why the F would you stay by the child, like right next to the child? I don't believe he was right next to the child in that video. On top of that, he could have left the house. She was not keeping him there at all. Saying he could have left again. Man. Wild, man. Wild. Okay, sorry. Cogent thought incoming. Saying he could have left. oh, why did he do the thing that he was doing when he was being assaulted? It's just not conducive to a productive conversation about this. Reading chat. Someone said either way, she still threw a chair in the direction of her child. Yeah, no, I genuinely do not believe, for one of the first times on my time on the internet, that most of the people saying these things are doing so out of malice, despite saying things that I still think definitely need to be called out in this scenario. We also have pulling. A lot of people right now are saying you essentially can't even say anything about this because you don't know this unless you've experienced it. It's yet another video with a bunch of views. I'm going to fix volume a little bit. This might be the slowest I've ever gotten through a segment online, but that's okay. I'm trying.
I don't know, guys. Call me crazy, but I still feel like Dakota's the problem. I still feel like what Taylor has and is experiencing is reactive abuse.
Dakota is a problem. He is a problem. He definitely is, but I feel like is projection in this case.
And I don't know how that's not obvious. I feel like it is very, very clear that they're in a trauma bond, an abusive relationship, absolutely, but her end is reactive abuse. And right now you're letting the abuser win. And I think that that's sad. I couldn't imagine having this all play out publicly, but reactive abuse is a real thing, and I think a lot of you need to go familiarize yourselves with Darvo. I don't know.
I think this idea of you're letting the abuser win by criticizing a God, man. Lord Almighty. Can you believe this? I think on some level, like, it's just, hold on. There's really no need for me to be dramatic. No dramatics. I've been calm this entire time. I've literally been calm this entire time. And will continue to be. You're letting the abuser win. I think in saying this is clear on some level that people are seeing it as absolutely impossible that Taylor Frankie Paul could be an abuser, and that's not true. Pulling this comment again. I don't want to scroll through the comments. Somebody said, I agree, but how she reacts is also a problem. And I think I also agree with the general sentiment of Dakota's behavior. But can I say also, I'm getting really, really icked out by continuously saying, I agree, this person is bad too. I agree, this person's bad too. When we're discussing a video of them being assaulted, is making me feel really icky. But anyways, they say, I agree, but how she reacts is a problem. And the person who posted that said, no one is disagreeing with that, but until you are in a trauma bond abusive relationship like this, you cannot fathom what it's like. Which what can you say to that? I think I want to make it really clear. I'm truly not here to actually argue with people who have been in these abusive relationships. Just doing a little bit of advocacy for myself that these things are kind of difficult for me to see. Doing a little bit of advocacy for myself that these things can be difficult Yeah, I'll clean that one up. Anyways, I think I've almost gone through all of these. Okay. We talked about reversal roles, victim blaming, calculation, reactive abuse. He deserves it. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bigger so you can all see. Sorry, give me a second. It's been more than 1 second at this point. I'm just looking at the rest of the things in this outline. I literally only have a couple things left. I'm almost there. We're hours, 16 minutes, and we've been doing fine. Just a couple things left. So I want to pull. Nah, I can't do it. I'm gonna go ahead and summarize the rest of these. I'm sorry, I can't pull the rest of these up. I'm gonna summarize the rest of these. There's a lot of this talk, and then people are also doing things, and I don't even feel the need to bring these all up, but saying, oh, Dakota was also a drug addict at one point. You think he can be trusted? And I think, like, the sheer amount of victim blaming or potential victim blaming it's just been staggering, honestly. Well, you can't trust him. He's a bad person. Oh, I bet he's releasing this footage on purpose just to sabotage her. What did he say that made her abuse him? Which is the same verbiage that she used when she threw that stool at him. It hit her daughter. He said, "You hit your daughter." And she said, well, no, you did this. All of this is just quite baffling. And yet, it's still quite important for me to say he could still be an abuser. That's what Taylor has said. That's what his behavior on the as it's depicted in this reality show implies. Being emotionally manipulative, emotional abuse, cheating on people, all of these things. I'm truly not actually here to say these things are less bad than other things. That's not the point ever for me when talking about really sensitive subjects like this. Okay. I think the next thing I'll say is I'm sorry to anybody who has been triggered by this for any reason, right? It's not a good feeling. So there's sirens in the background. Like, for example, I was zoomed in too big, you can't see it. You have a person here, a random person, which said what many people have said. This is so triggering as a survivor because people are fully buying into his narrative. Maybe because they're not familiar with his BS. I'm not defending Taylor because she's also at fault, but seeing people solely blame her while acting like Dakota is a saint is making me sick to my stomach. That's wrong to do. Honestly, in a scenario where a woman has come forward and said, I have experienced emotional and physical abuse, acting like the man in question could not possibly have done anything, I agree would be wrong. Just want to reiterate, that's not what I'm here to do today. And this is happening a lot, so I'm sorry that people are getting triggered for this reason. You also have people getting triggered for the same reasons I am. On that post where it said he deserved it, someone said these comments are disturbing, and the creator's like, girl, bye. And people saying, no, it's actually disturbing. And the person who put that saying, I'm a domestic violence survivor and so is my boyfriend, and I'm just disgusted. These people are weird AF. You're getting this really weird mix of people purposely being inflammatory, people bringing up deeply important points about reactive abuse that I think we need to educate ourselves on. All of this is, and then also a lot of speculation on things that we don't have any way of knowing currently. And all of these things are conflating into something that I feel like is triggering everybody. But I wanted to sort through and make sure I let you know what exactly I'm criticizing. Anybody who's brought up reactive abuse with the intention of educating, I'm not here to talk over that. In fact, I would like to platform somebody who can explain all this a lot better than me. Why, you may ask? Okay, this is that one that you sent me. This is actually such a good video. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit. Volume master 300. Oh, I can't make it bigger. That's so weird. Okay, whatever.
I'm a domestic violence therapist in the state of Utah, and I wanted to offer some response to some commentary.
Hold on. I'm gonna try it at 350. Okay, let's take two.
I'm a domestic violence therapist in the state of Utah, and I wanted to offer some response to some commentary I've seen about the Taylor Frankie Paul video. Now, I'm not going to be offering any analysis or judgment of the specifics that happened between these two people. That would not be appropriate. But I do want to offer some general information and address some misconceptions that I've seen in some videos. For background, I've been certified in domestic violence counseling since 2017, and I'm in leadership in the organization in Utah that oversees domestic violence counseling. And every 3 months since 2021, I've been on the team that trains and certifies therapists to do domestic violence counseling. First, reactive abuse.
And I'm just some guy with a microphone. So I'm going to cede the floor a little bit to Sarah ZBC on TikTok, who's going to kind of break down what I've been clumsily trying to get at here.
To do domestic violence counseling. First, reactive abuse, or when a long-term DV victim starts to fight back, is a thing, but it's not the only thing. I've seen people on here outright say that the only way a woman is violent toward a male partner is in reactive abuse. Reactive abuse can happen in male and female victims, and female domestic violence offenders do exist, even having never been abused themselves. There are also couples in what we call dual-role domestic violence relationships where both have been abusive.
Kind of just all I'm getting at here. The thing people are worried about Israel does happen, could even be likely in this case, and yet the victim blaming and the insinuation is more so what's been quite a bit to deal with.
To and abused by the other. Dual role relationships are not the same as violence relationships where both have been abusive to.
Hold on, sorry, I gotta go back so she can explain this.
Do exist, even having never been abused themselves. There are also couples in what we call dual role domestic violence relationships where both have been abusive to and abused by the other. Dual role relationships are not the same as reactive abuse. And when therapists work with dual role clients, we are going to focus on both the offense and the victimization. I've seen videos questioning the police response in this situation. In Utah, the law tells police that if they go on a possible domestic violence call and they have found evidence that domestic violence has occurred, they have to make an arrest. If we have two people who are injured or two people who are accusing the other, the police have to determine, based on a set of criteria written into the law, who the predominant aggressor is, and that is the person that is arrested. When police are determining predominant aggressor, they can take into account the possibility of self-defense, but
One of the things that I didn't include, and I'm not including in the video because it's not relevant, but during that body cam footage when they're arresting Taylor, the person who sent it said, I'm a TikTok creator on hiatus due to health/burnout, and I hope this vid would help. So glad it did, and grateful to be a part of the stream. Yeah, thank you. Seriously. During the arrest footage, at one point when they're actually cuffing Taylor, she says, but why are you arresting me? And they explain what this person just said, which is, we made the determination that he really aggressed her. And she says, but he pushed me and I'm a girl. would you believe me if I said that despite everything that we've seen today, that might have low-key been the most triggering thing that it was everything else I struggled with. I've been struggling with every single component of this video separately. It has all been a struggle, but just hearing her actually say out loud, oh well, he pushed me. Why are you arresting me? He pushed me and I'm a girl. I was like, dude, but she's drunk though, and I'm literally not holding that against her. I'm not even including this in the video because it's I don't believe any or disbelieve anything about like this scenario. I'm just saying this level of thinking, that's what we got to stop doing. There's no way. Oh, well, I'm a girl. No way, man. No way. But the reason I'm not including that video is I don't want somebody to use that as a point where it sounds like I don't think that she's also telling the truth about abuse that she says she experienced. Anyways. Oh no, come back. Okay, wait. I gotta go back to where I was.
Happened. It cannot go beyond that. I saw a video today where someone said he must have done something to provoke her. There are relationships where an abusive partner will manipulate and provoke some kind of response from their victim and then use it against them. But there are also domestic violence offenders who will use "I was provoked" as an excuse for their violence, and it can be any number of things. And I've spent years of my career helping both offenders and victims understand that outside of self-defense, violence is not okay in a relationship, no matter what the provocation. And domestic violence in the presence of a child, which is a child abuse charge in Utah, is traumatic for kids and causes lasting damage to their developing brains. Finally, I've seen some videos that seem to excuse violence if the person committing the violent act is drunk or under the influence of.
Thank you, Sarah ZBC, for quite a succinct and clear video. And I guess maybe leaving it at the kids might actually be the best possible conclusion. This is horrific for everybody involved, obviously, but I genuinely shudder to think about the kid being part of this video. That was another major reason in my Someone said I missed a part. Oh, did I miss a part? Okay, wait, hold on. Maybe I did.
I went back and I wanted to offer some understand that outside of self-defense, violence is not okay in a relationship. There are also domestic violence offenders who will use "I provoke her." There are relationships.
Okay, hold on. If I miss a part, I'm gonna go back and insert it. Don't worry about it. But listen. A large part of the reason I chose not to show the video is literally just because I don't even know what that's like having this recorded and talked about on this scale. People were speculating, or I guess based off of info, that the kid in the video would have been 5, is 8 now. And I'm just like, man, I'm just so sorry that any of this has happened. But yeah, in conclusion, I don't have one. And sometimes we just have to accept that's all we can really contribute to the story. Speculation, personal speculation, all of these things, I definitely understand, but I kind of just wanted to throw some additional points into the mix. All right. Before we get into the next part of the stream, is there anything that I missed? Is there anything that you think it would be beneficial for me to cover? Let me know. Right now, this is your only chance. Because once I end this, I'm telling you right now, we're never talking about this again. We really, really are not. Someone said, thank you for not showing the video. It was awful. Yeah, no. So many people here would get triggered. Even if, for me personally, I thought I was prepared because I got the trigger warning, and it was still very, very awful. People are saying human shield. Okay. I've seen this argument a lot. I'm probably not even going to put this in the video of like Dakota used the child as a human shield. No, whatever in your mind you're picturing, if you haven't seen the video of like that didn't happen. That didn't happen. He walked over to where she was, actually, and she got hit because Taylor continued hurling stools at him. Yes, that did happen. But he wasn't standing in front of her or behind her or anything like that. So anything else I would like to know? Someone said, would you say this is similar to the Tan situation when people have so much dislike for a person they totally disregard their abuse? Yes. And actually, you know what in my opinion, the only mistake I made in my Tana Mojo video was talking about what Cody Co did. There's only one part of the video I regret. And that's in the beginning when I said, I was saying like Tana has a reputation for lying. And this is why, obviously, like, there's been so much discourse. I shouldn't have even included that. I was just trying to explain why people were reacting the way that they were. But like, it's very similar in that people do have preconceived notions of everybody in this scenario based off of behavior that they have exhibited. And it's valid to have those notions. But like, then using those to say who is or is not definitely experiencing abuse, I don't think is a useful thing to do. But yeah, the dude sucks. From the research I did, he cheated on her. He seems to have like it really does seem like he just won't leave her alone. And this is not me actually like blaming them for being together. I'm just like, everything that people are saying as evidence of this person being bad, I'm like, yeah, I see what you're saying for sure. Just forgive me for needing to take a moment in the video where someone's being beaten with a chair. Wild, man, wild. All right, so someone said, I hate how drug addiction's like a moral, people act like drug addiction is like a moral failure. Sorry about the summons. There's a lot of that in this discussion, man. A lot of that in this discussion about like, he was on heroin at one point. He was on heroin at one point. You can't trust anything he says. Oh my God, the sirens are just getting louder. It's wild. Reading. Someone said better not. Great people still don't deserve to get abused. Yeah, nobody does. And still though, I really need y'all to realize something, because this is an important thing. No matter how I presented this evidence, it's not evidence, no matter how I presented the things that are publicly online, literally every single thing that Taylor, Frankie, Paul said in her statement could 100% be true. It could. There honestly could be levels of abuse that she's experienced that she just simply has not come forward due to fear of retaliation that we just don't know about and won't know about. And I don't even think that's like unlikely. I'm not even here to be like, probably. I don't want to do that. But one thing that was really awful to me, I've been trying to understand what's happening, and so far I've understood drugs and chairs are thrown and cheating. Sorry, it's kind of a long story. You might have to go back. I have literally seen the phrase Team Dakota, and I've also seen the phrase Team Taylor being thrown around, and that's when I realized that we lost the plot. I was like, oh no. I know that we do this with every single thing that happens online. Every single thing that happens online has to turn into whose side are you on? But yeah, the moment I saw the phrase Team Dakota, I was just like, oh, we lost it. we're never actually going to recover any of the nuance that I'm looking for in this scenario. Reading chat. All right, I'm scrolling up. Someone said the discourse would be different and perhaps people would be more inclined to be nuanced if Taylor was a woman of color simply because they're seen as the aggressors. Okay. I didn't include this point in my video. Because it was... It's a whataboutism. It's not actually completely relevant. But I actually had a line that I deleted where somebody said the same thing about like if Taylor Frankie Paul was a black woman or a woman of color, would we be so quick to I saw the same thing and I was like, actually, that person didn't even say, they didn't even finish their sentence. They just said, imagine if Taylor Frankie Paul was black. And I was just like, ... Now, I don't know if she is a person of color actually, but she ain't black. But I was like, people are already going to come into this one mad. And I actually think it's really interesting to have conversations about who gets to be a victim or who could never possibly be a victim and preconceived notions that could lead you to believe or not believe this. But like, I was like, it's okay. We can have this conversation later. we can have it later. Anyways, any final thoughts? I feel so fine so far. Someone say you're right though. Yeah, no, dude, there are black women who have been, listen, why? I told myself last stream I was going to stop talking in circles. There are point blank period black women who are in reality TV. And if they were hurling stools and harming people, including their children, it really would have been, nah, take away everything, lock her up. You know that it really would have been the story about how demonic essentially the person in question would have been. And I know because I've seen that happen. I have literally seen that happen. I've seen it happen in real life and on the internet. So yeah, there's another layer of double standard. Someone say it would be over. It would be so over. I wouldn't even be here talking about potential victim blaming because everybody would be, oh my God. But again, like, these are the feelings that I sit with them because I'm trying to make one specific point. And when you give people too many points, they definitely can tend to lose the plot. So I just focus on the one point of like, we don't know what happened and victim blaming rhetoric is not good. But anyways, if you are, I'm really sorry to ask this question. You don't need to answer it. If you are a survivor of domestic violence, a fellow survivor of domestic violence, or somebody who has proximity to it, do you think I did well? I'm trying not to feel like silly for asking, what do you think? But I want your opinion, honestly. If this is something that you experienced and you were triggered by this, you were pretty much one of the main ones I was thinking about. I was thinking about myself, and I was thinking about anybody who related to what I just said. Like, do you see what I'm saying? What if you were here for the whole stream? What do you think about that? Kind of closing the floor a little bit, specifically to you. Someone said, as a survivor, you did well. Okay. Thank you for the people who are saying. Someone said you're very sensitive about this. I'm trying, man. Someone said I was cussing out my phone, but you did good. Okay. I think you did your best, which came out great. I 100% did my best. I know I did not do perfectly. Okay. Reading. Okay. I appreciate all of this. Someone said it was palpable in your voice and expression. Okay. I feel whatever the opposite of triggered is. Honestly, I do feel a lot less triggered after this conversation. My aunt is a DV survivor. I think. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I genuinely do. Someone said time for a palate cleanser. Oh, it's coming. Trust me, we're gonna do a palate cleanser. Listen, no one's a monolith, right? People who have experience. Actually, I'm gonna put this in the video. Listen, nobody's a monolith. People who have experienced domestic violence or have had proximity to this, they're not all one person. So honestly, I just want you to know I tried my best. This may still have been on some level clunky, and I felt it even as I was trying to deliver these points, but this is where I'm at. I definitely did my best, so hopefully what I was saying kind of landed. And yeah. All right, everybody say bye to YouTube. Say goodbye right now, because we're going to wrap this, and then I'm going to move on to another topic. We still got some time. We can finally talk about Afro Man. I feel like people have been asking me to do this for a while. Drinking some water. Everybody say bye. All right. But with that being said, that's all I have to say about the topic for today. I recorded this video live right here on YouTube, where I stream quite frequently Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Unless, of course, I don't, in which case, who even knows what happened. But yeah, I hope to see you in the next stream or the next video. And if not, that doesn't really matter at all. Okay, bye. All right. We're done. We're not done. I'm still streaming, but we're done recording. And it only took an hour and 40 minutes, which low-key, I'm kind of happy about. I'm kind of proud of, man. Oh my God. God almighty. Lord. I don't feel triggered no more, but I do feel like that was heavy. Okay, thank you. All right, we're good. Stay here though. You can stop saying bye. Now we got stream exclusive stuff going on. No more outlines, none of this. Hot damn. Yeah, no, it ain't easy. It ain't easy being like, it just is not easy being a survivor, period. Because honestly, you're literally, sorry for this clunky metaphor, but I get to make it. Sometimes I honestly feel like I'm playing spin the wheel whenever I step outside, or honestly choose to go throughout my day. Spin the wheel. Is the wheel gonna land on me being horrifically triggered today? And am I gonna revert back to things that I've experienced that I now find debilitating? Or am I gonna have a good day? No matter how much healing or moving forward I try to do, and truly spun that wheel wrong yesterday. And honestly, that's not even a good metaphor, because it's not me, you know, physically choosing, but it's very much just like, wow. We here though. Now forget the wheel. I'm not at the mercy of a spinning wheel. I actually have quite a bit of agency. I'm just gonna shift it to something I actually want to talk about and think about today. All right. Someone said I'm now technically an actor in D'Angelo's video. I'll send you an invoice, or you can send me an invoice. I'll pay you in exposure. All right. Someone said, am I gonna feel like a terrified 12-year-old again today? Bro, like if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Oh, Lord almighty. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag? I very much feel like a plastic bag. Someone said, D'Angelo, reverting back to those moments is part of the healing. Yes, it is not linear. It is truly not a linear thing. And thankfully, it not being linear is a good thing. That's the thing that I did not realize. Because initially, someone said meme of the day. Okay, I'll pull one for you as I'm talking about this. Initially, I was so upset because I was saying to myself, like, it would be so much better if this was a linear process. I just want to get better every single day. But what I didn't realize about me trying to force linear progress was essentially like, if it goes downhill, but it was actually linear, I just fell off a cliff. And so it was a very unstable way of trying to like learn and move through these things. But thankfully, nowadays I see I could bounce back from any point, because it actually goes like an annoying chart. No matter where I am on this chart, I've got the possibility to go right back up to where I was before. It doesn't have to be linear. It's actually much better that it's not, because I can't fall off. You can't actually fall off when it's not linear. That's the thing people don't realize. You can't fall off when it's not linear. You're just on the down period, but you're going to get back up. That's how our wonky, nasty, awful charts go. And I don't think a lot of people can handle that chart. But once you realize essentially like, oh, nah, like I don't have to climb all the way back up. I can shoot back up, you know? Or at least that's what I tell myself. And it helps. But anyways, moving on to the meme of the day. I think we should just go pure silly after all of this, because truly, what would be the point of doing anything serious? Wait, have I done this meme? Oh no, I don't remember which memes I've already done. Okay, wait, hold on. I've got to figure out if I've sent this one already. I think I sent this one on my first day. I need to make an actual folder so I can understand what I have and have not. Shared. I'm gonna put this one in my OneDrive. I'll pick one that I know we haven't already done. And we're literally like 2 hours and 42 minutes into the stream doing the meme of the day, which I was supposed to do in the beginning. But instead I came online and cried. Okay, pulling this from OneDrive live. Someone said, why are you streaming on a Friday? Because I needed help with this video. Yeah, if you just joined, you missed a really interesting recording process, but I needed some outside input and I got it, which I'm very happy with. All right, let's see where I put it. Okay, this can be today's meme of the day. Dies from cringe. This was me, actually. I got just shell shocked with a wave of cringe online that was unfortunately terminal, and I died. Dies from cringe is the meme of the day. Here, if you want to screenshot that, I'll turn the chat off. There you go. You got 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you didn't catch that, you can find it later. But that's the meme of the day. Dies from cringe, honestly. But now, it's time to come back to life. It's time to come back to life. We're no longer going to be dead from the cringe of it all. Okay. So I think there were 2 things that I wanted to talk about during yesterday's stream. Yesterday's stream, not my daily stream era. I am not doing daily streams, man. And I didn't get a chance to do that. Let's see. I'm pulling up my thing. Okay, so it was Afro Man, which I vaguely wanted to talk about. And then also... Oh, the Sham Wow guy. Yeah. Okay. We'll start with Afro Man. So, yet again, a case of many things being true. Afro Man himself is a rapper, a character who, Lord almighty, many things I don't agree with, but can we please agree at the very least that if the police raid your home, begin stealing your things, and then you use this information to create songs, that the police shouldn't be able to sue you? Because that's actually what happened in this case. It's a long and very... Oh, what? Okay, I don't even know what we're doing here. It's a very long story with a lot of moving parts, and it gets very surreal very quickly. But yes, the actual like basic facts of this are they literally they raided his home. They raided his home, started stealing his stuff, did steal his stuff. And then when he tried to turn this into a diss, essentially using the footage of them being on his security cameras, they were like, oh, you can't do that. Then why were they raiding him? On suspicion of drugs, which weren't there. So actually, it was a pretty good thing that their defamation suit, he won this, because this is literally horrible that 7 of these police officers tried to sue him, and it says he spent the past few days in Adams County defending his art at a trial and prevailing. After hours of deliberation, the jury ruled in his favor on all counts, disagreeing with the deputy's allegations that the rapper had violated their rights and owed them millions of dollars in monetary damages. Someone said the transphobia, though. Yeah, no, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. We got him multiple things can be true. This one's super duper hard because Afro Man in these things that he was creating was very much going like, oh, my problem with this officer, she sounds like a man, and a bunch of inflammatory stuff like this that I'm not actually advocating for or even excusing. I don't even think he should have been doing most of what he was doing here. And it is transphobic, obviously. And that's not even the only thing that Afro Man himself has done. I just want to say, though, honestly, even somebody making transphobic stuff, for the love of God, the police should not be able to enter your home, steal your stuff on suspicion of a drug charge, and then sue you for millions of dollars when you use the footage of them doing that in artwork, even if said art is flawed, is all I'm saying. Anyways, the reason I'm not going to get into that is because if I was to actually go through this story, I would have to start picking through which parts of the things that he was making were actually bad, because many of them were, and I'm tired, boss. But yeah, no, this is why so many people have been talking about this, because this is insane that they sued him in the first place. It's actually disgusting. Someone said, did they win the suit? Thankfully, no. The police lost this defamation trial and he won. But yeah, no, it's an absolute mess, man. An absolute mess. Someone said they did straight up take his money on camera in front of their coworkers. Yeah, no, like absolutely. Oh my God. Someone said bad things can happen to bad people and it's so wrong. Yeah, no, this could have happened to a nicer guy, somebody who wasn't going to turn around and make a bunch of really awful comments about women with implications about transphobia and stuff like that. But I do still have to stand up and say once more, the police should not be able to enter your home, raid it on suspicion of charges, and then steal your things and then sue you when you use the footage of them doing that. I can't believe this happened, man. I can't. Someone said him being weird AF is separate from the cop. Yes, he's sexist and transphobic, but that doesn't mean the cops can steal from him or break his stuff. Agreed. Literally agreed. And I could make that like a whole video, but I don't really have too much more to add beyond that, honestly. All right. Anyways, next. Sorry, I thought about the next thing that I wanted to talk about, and I instantly got the ick. Since we're already here, without getting into triggering details, but I am going to give a trigger warning. Another trigger warning for child abuse, child sex abuse. Another Duggar from that 19 Kids and Counting show. And he's not a kid anymore. He's a grown man. Another Duggar, separate person, has now been arrested on child sex abuse charges. There's another one. This happened a long time ago. Or not a long time ago. This happened a few years ago with I don't remember what the other, was it Josh Duggar? I don't. All their names start with a J, so it's pretty hard to remember who actually did what. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't. Oh, Josh Duggar's behind bars, man. Well, according to this is from Facebook. He may not be, but yeah, this is the second guy from this family. This is actually just, yeah, some people are saying it's Josh. Yeah, so you've got Josh Duggar and Joseph Duggar, both separately with different victims doing this. And I'm just like, what is happening? This is more awful news from the world of reality television. I don't know if y'all have ever watched this show. I actually did when I was a kid. It's such a strange show. Obviously, I didn't realize that when I was literally like 10 or however old I was. It used to be called 17 Kids and Counting, and then 18 Kids and Counting, and then 19 Kids and Counting, because these people actually had 19 children. But Jim Bob Duggar and I don't remember what Michelle Duggar have 19 kids, 9 daughters, and 10 sons. They are, I believe they're religious fundamentalists. That might be the wrong word for the specific way that they practice, but they have this specific religion that they're into. And you look at some of the materials that they distribute for homeschooling their kids, and it tells you how to like unpack your abuse or whatever. Like I've looked into this, and then at this one I was like, nope, step back, not looking into this. So I'm not here to actually tell you who did what to whom. I'm not here to give you details about how the minors in this case were abused. I do think you should know, though. And then obviously, even though this is just speculation, I'm not speculating, but how could you not then worry that if these things have happened, and by the way, this happened years ago and was covered up, what else even happened? What else even happened in this household? I don't know, and I don't want to actually speculate. I, on some level, don't want to know, but like, it was on vacation, not in that household specifically with this guy. But yeah, dude, oh my God. The Duggars are not, they're not it, man. They're really not it. And there's a lot of content online diving into the specifics. Again, yet another topic I just can't get into, man. I can't do it. Reading chat. Someone said they're not LDS. Yeah, no, I don't think they're Mormon. But they are like some type of Christian with a name I don't remember. Oh God. Someone said FLDS. Oh, okay. See, I don't know. I don't want to say. But yeah. Talk about the Duggars, talked about Afro Man and the moving parts in that one. I want to talk to you about the ShamWow guy. Okay? And I'm trying to think about the best way of presenting this. ShamWow commercial. Oh, the original. Wow. Okay. So this was posted in 2010, but copyright 2007. Chat, we're literally getting into things that are like, someone said IBLP. Okay, sorry. Chat, I don't know what specific religion they were in, but I also don't care, low key. We are, but it's important to know. So please educate yourself and look it up, okay? We're getting into things at this point that are almost 20 years old. But if you are a certain age, this is going to feel like forbidden knowledge, like a memory that I just plucked straight from the depths of your subconscious, which is usually where memories reside, but you know what I mean. Let me turn this up. Okay, we'll do like 300.
Hi, it's Vince with ShamWow. You'll be saying wow every time you use this towel. It's like a chamois, it's like a towel, it's like a sponge. A regular towel doesn't work wet. This works wet or dry. This is for the house, the car, the boat, the arm.
I'm telling you, everybody saw this commercial. Everybody saw this commercial. Don't lie. If you were here during this time, you saw a commercial for ShamWow, and
ShamWow holds 20 times its weight in liquid. Look at this. It just does the work.
This same guy also did, I remember, the one I remember even more than ShamWow would be Slap Chop. Let me see if I can find the Slap Chop ad. Yes. Okay. So the ShamWow guy also did an ad for Slap Chop.
Hi, it's Vince with Slap Chop. You're gonna be in a great mood all day because you're gonna be slapping your troubles away with the Slap Chop. Now look, here's a potato. One slap, you got big chunks for stews. Two slaps, home fries in a second. And look at this. When you add a mushroom, the more
Ubiquitous, the ShamWow guy. And for a while, there was pretty much two top names, in my opinion. This is my ranking. Two top names in the world of commercial presenters, okay? It was very brief, though. Billy Mays, I can't believe, I can't believe how long ago he passed away. I would have only been like 10, but I actually still remember it. It was Billy Mays with OxyClean and all these other things just screaming at us to buy this product. I love a good Billy Mays ad, okay? I have a soft spot for this specific brand of advertising. And it was the ShamWow guy, Vince Offer, okay? Now listen. The ShamWow guy was pretty short-lived. And I never really knew, I've never thought about it. I didn't see him active for as long as Billy Mays was. And I never even wondered what happened to him. That sounds really mean. But it turns out that the ShamWow guy was spending time. Here, let's just go to this Wikipedia. Experiencing legal issues, like being arrested for a physical altercation, for punching a sex worker. So that happened in 2009, which does in my mind kind of line up with where I stopped seeing this guy around forever. Also, forget all these lawsuits. Went into comedy and politics, all of which was really awful, as you can imagine, as you can guess. I literally had no idea that any of this happened. None of it. You could have told me this guy went on to start, I don't know, a charity, and I would have been like, yeah, that sounds about right. But actually turning into whatever this is, hold on, let me go to the politics section, man. In October 2025, dude releases Woke Busters. Oh God, this transphobic parody video of the Ghostbusters theme. And then in November 2025, he offers, I say offer because his name is Offer. He files to run for the Republican nomination in Texas's 31st congressional district. Which I didn't know. So not only do you have this in your past, and also you're now doing anti-woke comedy videos, but you were at one point literally trying to enter US politics. In an interview with Fox News, he stated he would run on an anti-woke platform and that he was inspired to enter the race by the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Okay. And then if you're like, nah, this is... if you're like, nah. He later announces that he's suing the Republican Party because by removing the word ShamWow from the ballot, not putting him down as the ShamWow guy, they rigged the election in the other guy's favor, who he was trying to unseat. Saying, oh, if you had just let me put ShamWow guy on the ballot, everybody would have voted for me, obviously, to be congressperson. I also found out that he wrote these comedy movies, I believe. Vince Offer writing comedy films, which I did not know even existed. The underground comedy movie. Oh God, what? This was before. This was before the ShamWow guy stuff. A 1999 film directed by and starring Vince Offer, considered by some as the worst films of all time. How did you even get this ShamWow guy gig? And then there's this inappropriate comedy, which I do not want the results to pop up because I feel like crazy things are going to come here. Okay, hold on. Here we go. A 2013 American satirical sketch comedy directed by Vince Offer. Apparently starring Rob Schneider, Michelle Rodriguez, Adrian Brody, and Lindsay Lohan. Released in 2013. I didn't know this happened, but you can probably guess that just from the poster saying an equal opportunity offender, I can't help but imagine it's just this anti-PC garbage that we've been on this entire time. But yeah. Who was going to tell me the ShamWow guy ran for congressperson, also was doing anti-woke comedy since the 90s, transphobic parody videos, got arrested for punching a sex worker and what he claims was an altercation. All of these things, I was like, there's absolutely no way. There's no way that this is real. And for a split second, I did consider actually like talking about this guy, but I was just like, you know what? If we're being honest, it's just much better that we never pay attention to him. It's much better that we just don't pay any sort of attention. So no, I will not be editing or preparing any sort of deep dive into the ShamWow guy, because please leave him in the past. Let that political failure be his final failure. I don't want to hear any more about this ever. Thank you. Thank you. Someone said no offense, but what's ShamWow? It's literally a towel. It's literally a towel. To be fair, it looked really good in the ads. I don't know if it worked as well as it did because my family never had one, but yeah, it looked like a pretty decent towel that you just use for mopping stuff up, and he sold these to you on TV. But yeah, it turns out to be a really, really awful person. Anyways, somebody said nobody wants to deep dive on the guy. Nobody wants this. I think it will be interesting as a human interest story, but trust me, I was like, nobody. The amount of little attention I gave to it just now is the only bit that we should be thinking about, to be honest. And I'm still advocating for someone said it's just microfiber. I think it is just microfiber cloth. I am still trying to make my Grimes deep dive happen. No promises. You ain't getting that in Q1 and you're not getting it in Q2. What does that mean? You're not going to see this before June or July. It might be in the second half of the year. The next deep dive I would like to do is still on Grimes. I'm purposely getting y'all a little bit hype on this because I've been doing more research. I've been watching old videos now, and I'm just like, oh my God, I forgot how deep this rabbit hole goes. So you're not going to get any actual deep dive content until you get the Grimes video, whenever that may be. I'm very excited about that one. Still very much going to be a case of like, nature would heal a little faster if I just did not pay attention to Grimes at all. But hey, I have some points to make. I have some points to make. Someone said, you know, you're washed up when you try campaigning off the back of the towel commercial you were in 15 years ago. Yeah, how about having an actual platform and not just woke is bad and I'm transphobic and I used to be in commercials? What? That guy, not serious. Not serious at all. Okay, anyways. Whew, I'm feeling good though. I'm feeling good. Someone said I need to know more. Yeah, no, the Grimes video, that's where, if you're gonna waste time, waste it on this Grimes video. I'm telling you, I want to distract you. I want you to be distracted for, I don't want to give a specific time, but definitely more than an hour. I'm so psyched. I'm so psyched. Someone says something, AI, something, psychosis, crypto fascist. Yeah, no, it's pretty easy to guess what my main point is in the Grimes video. It's not unique. It's a cold take, but Lord, it's a long take with very many moving parts. Just wild, man. Anyway, someone said that's going to be iconic. I think that's going to be iconic personally. All right. So looking back at my list of things I wanted to talk about today, we talked about Joseph Duggar. We talked about Afro Man. We talked about the ShamWow guy. Obviously, I covered my main topic. Yeah, no, that's pretty much where we at. Low key. Some of D'Anzo's deep dives are always iconic. I would have to agree. They're like literally moments. I also get a lot of questions sometimes about like why the multiple channels, and I've talked about before why I have 3 different channels, but the main reason is because I prefer to keep my main channel iconic. I want the uploads to be moments, and I still want to be able to yap all the time about everything without really doing nearly as much research as it takes. So that's why we're over here right now, but I'll let us all know when it's time to go back to the main channel and be like, oh, y'all got to go watch this. Because you know what's really funny too? I do feel like a lot of my main channel viewers low-key still don't even know that I'm over here. Which is so funny to think about. Like the vast majority of people who watch those videos, they're interested because this content is not designed to appeal to every single person who likes deep dive content. But yeah, I think like coming back for them will be very exciting, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen D'Angelo since like the Spy Kids video in 2024. Meanwhile, how many videos have I posted on this channel since then? Like 100. Oh my god. Someone said I was your main channel viewer and I had to search you up to find this. Yeah, look, I feel like honestly, there's so much space on this platform for low effort content. I think low effort content is the backbone of YouTube. I just also don't want to dilute my high effort content by doing things like this over there. And I don't want to confuse people who are like, who know me for what I did mostly back then. So I'm quite happy actually. Somebody told me we are at 699,000 subscribers, and y'all better tell me when I hit 700k. If I miss that, I'm gonna be mad. But yeah, I I'm having fun over here, honestly. They can wait. They can cook. They can be patient, because here's the thing. I've said this before. Someone said D'Angelo be out here. We out here. I said this before. I said this before, and I will say it again. Where's H Bomber guy? You still ain't back. Huh? What are you doing? I know what he's doing. His job. Where's the next video? Plagiarism in YouTube? When was this dropped? 2023? What? That's diabolical. So honestly, my goal, don't tell him I said this, is to upload before H Bomber guy does. And I think I can manage it. Now if H Bomber guy posts and I still have not posted on my main channel, okay, I might need to move a little. I might need to move a little more urgently. But as far as I'm concerned, ain't nobody can tell me nothing for as long as there are no new videos on the H Bomber Guy channel. I am in no rush to put out new videos on the D'Angelo Wallace channel, and that's on period. But I do still like YouTube and working, and also, if I'm being honest, having a job and money. So here I am on this channel. Someone said this next video on Adobe is supposed to be 4 hours and 25 minutes, and I'm gonna watch every single minute. I hate Adobe. I hate them. Capital H, capital A, capital T, capital E, capital E, capital E, capital E, capital E, capital E. I literally hate Adobe so much. And I think that, like, we should all be hating corporations, obviously, but there's something about being in my particular field, as a creative, doing computery creative things, not even just here, but also illustration and making my own thumbnails. I make all my own thumbnails. I despise Adobe for so many reasons. Probably not even as many as H Bomber Guy is finding in his video, but like, dude, Adobe's AI image generator can now be trained on your own art. The AI stuff is literally just one of many reasons. And you know what's pretty bad? I still use them. I have a Creative Cloud subscription that I had canceled it at one point out of literal morals and just putting my foot down. I canceled my Adobe subscription. And then I was struggling to I was struggling a lot with my videos using other programs, even though the other programs are good, because Adobe locked me into their ecosystem. That's how I feel. Listen, do you need me to fix an image for you? Photoshop. Do you need me to cut a video? Premiere. Do you need me to clean up some audio? Audacity. Do you need me to export from one place? Adobe Cloud. Adobe Bridge. Adobe Media Encoder. I am so deeply enmeshed in Adobe's workflow, which is intentional, that they've essentially convinced me that I need Adobe. And I don't need Adobe. Theoretically, I could do everything that I'm doing right now without them. Illustration, Photoshop, but thankfully I've finally stopped using Photoshop for illustration. I use Procreate now exclusively. I exclusively use Procreate. But yeah, when push comes to shove and I'm like, oh, I gotta get, someone said Audacity. No, sorry. Audition. No. Audacity is good. I love Audacity. This is a great program. No Audacity slander. What I mean is Audition. Okay? That's just Audition by itself. This is the slander. This is a bad program, even though it actually works really well. This is a great program made by beautiful, awesome people who want you to have the power to do great things with audio. This is a program made by the greediest, most anti-consumer people who actually hate their user base and don't care about them at all. So yeah, I'm sorry. I love Audacity. Everybody should download that if you want to do audio stuff. Thank you so much for correcting me. Adobe Audition, they're the problem. Every Adobe product is the problem. But yeah, unfortunately, we're still using them. Someone said not everyone can use Procreate though, which sucks because Apple. Let me tell you this right now. If you're an illustrator, Procreate Apple. If I just put Procreate by myself, okay, good. I'm glad the thing comes up. Actually, low key, this might just be me having my mind in the gutter. I've always thought that Procreate is a crazy name for software. Is that just me being weird? Hold on. Because like the actual definition of procreate as a word would be like of people or animals to produce young or reproduce. Species that procreate by copulation. I'm like, why is this named after that? I've literally always wondered, why is it called Procreate? But anyways, someone said me too since middle school. Literally, I have been wigged out by the name of Procreate for so long, even though I'm an adult. I'm too old to be like, hey, Procreate. But listen, the name is the only thing that's questionable about the software. Do you want to know what Procreate's stance is on AI? Procreate AI. AI is not our future. Creativity is made, not generated. Where we stand, no generative AI. Your work belongs to you. We don't even have access to your art. We're not going to train our stuff on you. Your stuff is private, and they're true. They're not capping. Their CEO literally put out a statement where he was just like, I really effing hate generative AI, so we're not putting that in our app. And I was just like, the W's. The amount of W's that I felt when an actual CEO of a software came out and said, I hate generative AI so much, and we're never doing that. I felt so justified. I was like, I love Procreate. And I had been using them for long before that. I used them for all of my like tattoo stuff and all of this. But if you happen to get your hands on an iPad, that's the trickier part. Procreate itself is not that expensive per se, but getting your hands on an iPad can be a little difficult. Lord, it's such a good program. Someone said I feel like the CEO is being performative, but that's my opinion. Well, listen, he performed correctly. Even if he was doing that to be performative, Procreate did not, they said this a couple years ago, if I remember correctly. I don't remember when. They did not add any sort of AI stuff to their app. And it's been, I think, over a year. Yeah, Procreate pledges to avoid generative AI. In a year and a half, there ain't been no Procreate AI. So if it's performative, he's giving a great performance, Oscar worthy. I swear to God, it's such a good platform. It completely blows Photoshop out of the water. I was using Photoshop for illustration before. Somebody said the fact that you can buy Procreate for one price and have it forever. Yes, it's a one-time subscription. I bought Procreate, I don't even remember. I literally don't even remember when I bought it. I might have been a teenager or in my early 20s. Have never lost access to it. No matter how many times I've had to update, I will always have Procreate. They should sponsor me. How much money do y'all have? Tell them to send some money my way, and I will officially influence all of you to pay for Procreate on purpose. That's how good I genuinely think this software is, honestly. Someone said, why is this software named Boning? Yeah, but the name is still kind of wild. It's still kind of a wild name. Someone said, did me and Dianzo buy Procreate at the same time? Ooh, we probably did. Yeah, long time ago. What I like about Procreate is it usually automatically, if you enable it, saves a time lapse of what you did. And that's actually, for me personally, as a creative, deeply important. I can't think of anything that is more relevant to me as a creative than the ability to show people how I created something. So anything that I draw and Procreate, let me see if I can find one of my Procreate time lapses, because those are bomb. Those are super fun. Hold on, wait. Okay, Photoshop, no, photos. Hold on. I promise I have one of these, chat. I do. Did I put it in my OneDrive or my Google Photos? I guess the last time I exported something was October of last year. Okay, no, I don't. It must be in my Google Photos. Hold on, chat. I'm telling you right now, this is worth it. You might be thinking, like, what is bro cooking? No, I swear to God, this is going to be so worth it. Okay, I'm going to go to my photos, scroll back down to October. I don't want to sign into Google on this computer because then all my stuff pops up. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, dope. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my OneDrive and then show you the beauty of a Procreate time lapse. I gotta stop saying the beauty of Procreate. Y'all need to change your title, man. It's crazy. Okay, so for context, I had this space right here on my arm, which you can kind of see, not really. I have this really, really beautiful portal tower tattoo here. Oh wait, I'm covering it. Okay. Look at that. Love this tattoo. Definitely one of my favorite ones that I've drawn, right? I created that. But listen though. In current year, when you do walk into a tattoo shop and you're like, hey, I have this design that I'd really like to get tattooed on me. I drew this. It's you're usually going to have a lot of skepticism and people just assuming that you use AI, because a lot of people are purposely generating AI designs and then going into tattoo shops and asking them to tattoo them on their body, which is, God, I just really don't understand the point of that at all. But what I did essentially was I just had to take a photo of my arm without the tattoo in Procreate, block out the weird shape, and then essentially just draw this tower as is, fill it in with like the appropriate shading that I was looking for, and bam, we get the finished thing. It looks really great. And then I can walk in as an artist with the stencil and be like, hey, bestie, I know you guys hate stenciling or tracing. I have the stencil for you. You can just print this out and slap it on me. And then I can present them the shaded version, and I'm like, oh yeah, color study, it's right here, you don't have to do this. And then I'm like, I'm gonna pay you obviously the same amount as any other tattoo where you got to do a bunch of stuff. And there are some artists that will be really happy to do this for you. There are other artists that don't do this, so obviously you coordinate. But the kinds who are just happy to tattoo any and everything on you, they are so happy that I come in sometimes with actual art. A lot of times I'll just go in and get whatever because I don't care. But they're happy I come in with actual artwork that I'm actually able to show them, like, hey, this is the stencil that I drew. This is what I was thinking for shading. And I'm completely okay with you just directly applying the stencil to my arm as I drew it in Procreate. So yeah. Someone said I'm getting my first tattoo this year and this is totally what I'm going to do. Yeah, as long as you're like super open to their... as long as you're super open to their ideas about like placement and stuff, they'll be super chill about it. As long as you're going to an artist who does any and all tattoos. And then what's really fun is you can trash talk AI the entire time that you're getting tattooed. That's what I do with new artists who are open to this sort of thing. They will usually make some sort of comments about the fact that I drew this myself. And then I will be like, yeah, I bet people walk in with like ChatGPT stuff, don't they? Me saying this, knowing full well that this is true, but I pretend not to know. And then they start raging at me, not at me, but in my direction, with just pure seething, like, oh my God. And I'm just like, yes, conversation. I am so social. So that's another perk of drawing things yourself. That being said, though, if you don't have drawing skill, you should still do the same thing that I did. It will not be a direct application, but if you're thinking to yourself, well, I want a really cool tower tattoo and I don't know how to draw a really awful one. Bring it to your tattoo artist, have a consultation with them, and say, this is kind of what I want. As you can see, my thing is really bad, but here are some examples of other ones that I think are dope. Can you please turn this into a real thing for me? And then a real tattoo artist will draw real human art for you and apply it. So you don't actually have to be good at drawing to get original tattoos based off of your own ideas. They can draw them for you. You should definitely do that instead of asking ChatGPT to come up with ideas. Just don't do it. It's not going to be anywhere near as cool as you bringing in a shoddy illustration and having it bolstered into something beautiful by an artist. Because it's a lot easier to be proud of that kind of thing. Someone said research is key. Yeah, you got to go to the right people. Make sure, you're looking for the right style. And that's where consultations come in really handy with artists. It's really great. It's really, really great. Someone said I design my own tattoo and can't draw. Loki just a line, but it's supposed to be an outline of Table Mountain. Yeah, no, you can absolutely get something good, whether you can draw or not. I don't want to gatekeep it to like only people have experience. I just myself, I've been drawing for so long. It wasn't too hard to do. I whipped that up while I was at someone's house. Because that's the thing about me. I'd be a little neurodivergent. So you might invite me to your house with the whole goals of having a conversation, and I will have one with you. But it's like, what is he doing? Is he like drawing right now while talking to me? Yes. And at this point, my friends and family understand that I'm like this. So nobody was even surprised. Nobody was even surprised by that one. But yeah, super dope. Love Procreate. They didn't even have to pay me to say it. Reading chat. Someone said I've been going up to people with tattoos when they come into my store and just ask them who their artists were. Many people are really happy to do that too. Some people you may get like, they may be a little iffy of like, oh, I don't want to talk about them. But honestly, almost anyone I've met will be really happy to tell you who did their work because it's a really cool process. Someone said, oh, geez, remember when he made art commentary videos? Yeah. I bet when you were watching my art commentary videos, you didn't think I would transition X-Files theme into a completely different form of art and wind up with like 20 something tattoos and look like this with a bald head and all of the alt stuff that I have going on now. I certainly didn't think that at that time, but here we are. Reading. Someone said that's the point of crochet. My hands need something to do if I have to be social. Exactly. I do not know how people just be sitting there. I'm proud of them for doing that, but that's just not something I can do. That is not something I can do. Someone said, are the art videos still up? Some of them. It's my art from a long time ago, so I don't really stand behind it. I feel like I could do a much, much better job drawing anything that's in those old videos now. But yeah, some of my old videos, my oldest videos are still up. The very first video I ever got views on was me following a tutorial. Here, I'll tell you right now how I blew up on YouTube, okay? Someone said I predicted it. Nice. I essentially... There was this trend a long time ago, and I'm not even going to be able to find it. Following an X tutorial, or just following a tutorial trend. You might think to yourself, like, there have literally always been trends where people follow tutorials, but I'm telling you, in 2018, I think, when I posted that video, there was this trend where people were trying to follow Bob Ross tutorials, follow tutorials from really great big artists and things like this. So I had been doing a lot of research into YouTube as somebody who had already posted a lot of content online that was deleted. No, many people don't know I posted like, I almost want to say 40 or 50 videos that no one ever saw because I had 36 subscribers. I would create speed paints and time lapses where It's actually the same thing I showed you with Procreate, where you just see how I draw something in real time. I was posting those for my friends because I had been asked at one point, like, hey, what was your process for drawing this? Or we want to see how you did the lighting. The first speed paint I ever painted was because someone asked me how I did lighting, which I had my own process in Photoshop, womp womp, where, you know, color dodge and overlays and all these things. When I posted that video and edited it, I really liked, I got a rush from pressing publish. I did. I wasn't a YouTuber. I wasn't exactly trying to be a YouTuber. It wasn't the first video I had made either, but I was like, oh, I liked doing that. And so then for the next thing I drew, I was like, I'm going to record this on purpose. And I used this terrible program that essentially takes a screenshot of your screen every few seconds or minutes or whatever. And I would just have that running the entire time I was in Photoshop. And then I would take like 2,000 pictures and combine them into a single video. That way it was just a sped up version of what I was doing. Excuse me. And because I flipped my canvas a lot, I would cut out the parts where my canvas was flipping like crazy. I flip it way too often, if I'm being honest. And so I started putting those out, and I started putting more work into my speed paints. I started making thumbnails. I started purposely drawing things that would look good on YouTube. I started drawing for YouTube, and I wanted cooler and cooler music for my stuff. I stole music from everywhere. Me getting a copyright claim didn't matter. Why? Because I wasn't monetized and I didn't care. So I would steal music from SoundCloud and put it in my speed paints and be like, yeah. And my friends were watching this content, or they were actually just putting it on and letting it play in the background because it's not active engagement content. And they were like, yeah, well, I saw your new video. And I'm like, thank you. So I was doing like a really silly version of YouTube at that time, years and years and years and years ago. And I would show, the people would come over and I'd be like, do you want to see the thing that I do on YouTube? And they were like, yeah, for sure. And I'd pull up my speed paint channel that had all my artwork on it. And I'd be like, yeah, look at this one. We've got this song and stuff. I would literally show people this like on my TV. And they'd be like, that's so cool. Because to most people, someone said OBS because I was stubborn. And I did not want like a really long recording. But listen, to most people, it was very cool. Even though I only had 36 subscribers, nobody in my life was actually doing speed paints on YouTube. And the fact that I posted things to a video website that I created was really neat to a lot of people in my real life. But being on the platform long enough, looking at the art channels that were blowing up in my niche, you had like Lavender Town, Draw with Jazza. I mean, dude, things that are not even going to like make sense to the average people because I was so niche at that point. Casey was on there at that time as well. Her stuff was really good. I wanted some views. I was like, I am having fun putting up these speed paints, but I see actual people who are artist personalities on YouTube. And that's what I want to do now. That's the next evolution. So I looked for a trend. I was like, I know how YouTube works. You post something that's viral and then you blow up. It wasn't that easy. Someone said Drawfee. Yes, Drawfee was very much popping off at that time as well. Cynics mentioned me. Yeah, no. So I started building cred in the art community. At one point, my channel banner was Cynics Design saying, I like this channel. That doesn't mean anything to most of you, but I'm telling you right now, having someone like Cynics even acknowledge my channel was insane because Cynics is a goat. I had Ahmed Aldori at one point was like watching my videos and stuff. I started being like, I want to create an environment that is so toxic. And I brought my trademark mess to YouTube and I was like, I'm just gonna make art videos where I just call people out. I just call things out. So I got a lot of hate at that time as well. People essentially saying that I was like ruining the art community because I was like a drama leech or whatever. And yeah, I was. But was I ruining it or was I giving you a second option? That's how I feel. That was the service that I provided to the YouTube art community, was another way of doing it that many people had not seen. And yes, I did have a lot of really influential within that niche people watching. I thought it was super dope. And I was kind of happy to be an art channel forever. But then I started running into issues where I was running out of drawings. And I was like, oh God, every single time I draw, or I want to make a video, I have to draw something. And I don't want to be drawing just to make videos. I was like, I want the drama without having to draw. And you can imagine what idea I had. Someone says Super Ray Dizzle. Yes, Super Ray Dizzle was popping off at that time with her black and red. Bro, if you were there, you were there. And it was a time, okay? ZHC stole my thumbnail. ZHC stole my thumbnail. This was my first ever YouTube drama, if I remember correctly. Was ZHC stealing my thumbnail? Hold on. Uh-oh. Okay, we're back. I don't remember if he changed it or if that video was even still up. It doesn't matter. So, it's me. We, at that time, we had a similar amount of subscribers. I know that might seem a little bit unbelievable right now. But ZHC was like just starting off, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we started at a very similar time. And at one point, I did a thumbnail and I was like, yeah, I've got this design. I had like an arrow going through it or whatever. And ZHC ripped that thumbnail off for one of his videos, which at the time was very dramatic. Granted, nowadays, I don't care. I literally don't care. Like, well, clearly I care because I'm bringing up drama from like 8 years ago, but I think a lot of people have patterned their thumbnails after my thumbnails, if we're being honest, at this point in time. But this was my first experience with this, and I was so mad. And so that was going on. And then, this is hilarious. I was like, well, you know what? Justice will be served someday. Because I was smaller than him at that point. I was like, it's okay that this bigger channel has like used my thumbnail idea. That's not that big of a deal. Then he became the largest art channel on the platform. And currently has 30 million subscribers. And I was like, should I have stolen his thumbnail first? And then I would have... Bro, I was pissed. But that's an example of the kinds of drama I used to get into and the kinds of people I used to think about. It was really, really funny. In retrospect, having such small problems like this was amazing. Amazing, genuinely. And then, of course, I do put up a Holly Brown video. Also, that's a video I would not make today, really. I talked about an artist who traced over something and passed it off as not tracing. It's literally not that big of a deal. It doesn't really matter that much. But, like, I was a very small channel. I was a different person. No, I did it on purpose. I was a small channel just talking about like, oh, art drama. And then that video really blew up for some reason. I don't know why. Or I guess I do know why, honestly. And then I was like, oh, that worked really well. But Holly Brown as a subject was really odd because it was just she just ran an art channel that had like 200K. So I was like, those are not the kinds of people I want to be getting this kind of eyes on. So then I made a video about Shane Dawson. And I was like, okay, you know what? If y'all are going to listen to me, how about y'all listen to me say something I actually think is a little bit important? And I made my first video about Shane, which many of you probably may not have seen, where I, for 10 minutes, very lightly sort of make fun of the weird things that he had going on, because I did not know all of them, and the way that he's defended online. And that video popped off, and then I was trying to do commentary and art commentary simultaneously, and when I wanted to talk about somebody, I had to draw them. So I have used my artistic skills to paint portraits of Shane Dawson, Tati Westbrook, and James Charles, which is that's like forbidden knowledge, right? But then eventually I realized I'm not going to be able to keep painting these people if some of these people I'm talking about are the worst people ever. And so I uploaded my very first commentary video without artwork. I honestly want to see if I can find it. D'Angelo Wallace took a nap months. Okay, let's see. Oh, I found it. Okay. 6 years ago. 6 years ago, man. Almost 7 years ago. I put up a video called I Took a 2-month Nap While the Internet Burned Down. This is a very interesting video because it was my first foray into doing any sort of like commentary that was just commentary. I was so young. I looked quite a bit different, honestly. Talking about all kinds of stuff. Probably a lot of the jokes in here were very clunky. It was very dry. It's so blurry, honestly. What the hell, man? Come on. You went to school for this. You could have done better than this. Oh, look, I say right there, I only had 130,000 subscribers. And all of the comments at that time were like, oh, I said, I love that my microphone is slightly more in focus than my actual face. As you can see, my sense of humor has not changed at all. Somebody said he literally just came back and flexed his new video editing skill. I put a lot of work into it. And I was glad that people saw, like, I can make good commentary videos, man. Someone said exactly 10 minutes every time a talented video YouTuber, or exactly 10 minutes every time a talented YouTuber. What else did somebody say? I'm telling you right now, D'Angelo's going to hit 1 million subs before the year ends. He's too iconic to go this long without recognition. I did not hit 1 million subscribers before that year ended, but I did hit it shortly thereafter. What else? And there was a lot of things. Someone said, are you legitimately getting married? No. I must have made a joke in that video about getting married, but I wasn't actually doing that. You have an art channel right here commenting on this because I still had this weird overlap, but eventually someone said D'Angelo's video seems like it's so much more high quality than usual because this is where the budget went from the missed videos. Remember when this was an art channel? Good video, by the way. Welcome back. And I basically said, if I keep putting out good videos and I'm literally writing these videos like my life depends on it. I'm serious. I can't stress this enough. I know it was just YouTube commentary videos at this era, but I literally was like, I could have lost everything. I know that sounds dramatic. Because the thing that I'm losing is just 130,000 subscribers. But I'm telling you, changing your YouTube niche at 130,000 subscribers is terrible practice. Someone said your voice is so different in that video. Yeah. Is it? Hold on. I'm curious. Oh, it's muted. Oh, wow, it's so loud.
More importantly,
Oh my God, sorry. I had this turned up all the way on my side. Okay, hold on.
he got 21 million views. Going to jail, 21 million views. Going to jail, 21 million views.
Going to jail, 21 million views. Going to jail, 21 million views. Yeah, I guess I do sound a little bit different. Hold on. Wait.
Criminal records can be expunged, but Social Blade is forever.
I was so nasally. Criminal records can be expunged, but Social Blade is forever. Honestly, for as much positive commentary as I get on my voice nowadays, and have always gotten, I have also changed it a little bit. I've changed it a little bit in these 6 or 7 years that I've been on the platform. I think before you were very much getting like persona D'Angelo, and I was very monotone intentionally. Which, by the way, I still slip into monotone pockets literally all the time. But I think nowadays I'm a lot more expressive because I can be. We've talked a little bit on the last stream about my struggles being expressive at all. But yeah, if you were ever worried about masking, and if this is something that you can actually get good at, you can get really good at it. You can get great at it to the point where nobody even realizes that you're doing it all the time. You could do it for 4 hours in a live stream. and have nobody be none the wiser, which I think is hilarious. On some level, my transformation is wild. It's kind of crazy thinking that I am literally theoretically the same person in these videos. Oh my God, the Crocs. Here I am buying ice cream in a shop, or I was going to buy ice cream, but I said the cashiers watched me walking towards the ice cream aisle with my camera out. And then I just felt a deep shame. I just went ahead and bought the ice cream because I look suspicious AF. Filming in public, I realized, is just very cringe. Here I am. Also, I acquired a jawline. I acquired a jawline since then. Which, you know what? I will make one thing known. I was cute without the jawline visible. I still had a jaw. I was cute with or without the jawline. I think I was just serving a very different kind of cute because I was so young, bordering on being a child. But I was an adult. I was an adult for sure. But yeah, no, since then, we've definitely gotten a little bit snatched on purpose. Sort of. Also kind of not on purpose because my face changed crazily when I entered my mid-20s and I had no control over that. So that happened as well. But yeah, no, there's just like little differences. I'm also just not like severely depressed anymore, making content, which is really great. But every single video at that time was a fight for my life. I had to keep my entire fan base happy with the content they were getting. And I knew that that would take some really sharp writing, some really solid editing, and a point. And that is why that initial commentary era was so goated, because I felt like I had to earn it. Yes, I had gained 130,000 subscribers, but that didn't mean I deserved a commentary career. So I knew I had to make some good content, for real. Someone said, "You've been mewing?" No. I'm not yelling at you. Stop mewing. Stop doing looks maxing. Anybody who is in their early 20s, any man, actually, I'm talking to men specifically, 16% of my audience, or some of you may have been men at one point. Anybody who is looks maxing, you want to be seen as masculine, you're presenting this way on purpose. This is what I mean by presenting a male at one point. And you are below the age of 25. Stop doing that. Stop looks maxing. Just wait. I literally hit age, I think it was literally 25. And it came back in the video because I had been gone for a while. And I was like, what the hell happened to my face? And it will happen to you. It literally will happen to you. Someone said I used to be obsessed with glowing up. For real, the glow up will come to you. Because I believe, personally, this is a really hot take. I'm going off of preference. People say, oh, you're not allowed to have a preference anymore. My preference is for people that look older, honestly. I think the older you get, the more you actually kind of grow into your looks. You grow into your face, you grow into the confidence that's required to come across as an attractive person. You can gain that just by waiting, bro. Bro, he says. So yeah, no, like, someone said leave the book of fat alone. Please, for the love of God, don't take it out. My biggest problem is people doing this when they're too young to know what their face is actually going to wind up looking like. It's so bad. Someone said off topic, what's your pronoun? He, him. Yeah, no. Someone said aging is the best thing I've done for my looks and self-esteem. Literally. Someone said I'm 26 and still waiting. Keep waiting. It's going to happen because I've talked about this before and I'll talk about it again. I'm not doing a comparison. Or saying one age range is the best. I personally believe, and people have done studies on this, so it's not even my hot take or whatever. It's 35. It's 35 years old. I personally believe that's it. That's when it actually starts. I know that right now I'm happy with the way I look. Someone said weight maxing. Yes, you need to practice weight maxing, not looks maxing. Okay, there is something that genuinely happens to your face in your mid-30s where I start being like, oh, I like that face. I like that face a lot. And it may happen to you, by the way, before you're 35. That's not even always the case. But for me, that's when the real fun actually begins of what your face really looks like. I'm not even gonna list. Someone said my man is 35 and he looks so good. For real though, I'm not even gonna like list specific celebrities. Or maybe I will. Maybe I will. I'm gonna make a point. Because you're gonna see that I'm not even trying to like compare ages, right? Haley Williams. Okay, so listen. She has been popular for literally ever, right? If we look at her in, I don't know, 2010 or whatever, she's always been super cool. The coolest person to ever do it, right? Obviously, right? A lot of style, a lot of really cool things going for her. Look, I mean, it's a cute look, right? Haley Williams right now, being in her mid-30s, there's a completely different kind of serve that you can do that is not available to you when you are in your 20s, no matter how good or not you actually look. Let's find her in like 2025 or whatever. It's literally, hold on, these are such small pictures. Yeah, this is a great face picture. Okay, this is a great face picture. Bro, you can't serve that hard in your 20s. You can't serve. Someone said, how did I know you were going to mention Haley Williams? Because I'm obsessed. You cannot actually serve as, look. This is a great look. I love this look for Haley, but there's something actually genuinely about being in your mid-30s that is so peak. That is when the peak begins. I am actually really looking forward to getting there. Someone said refined. You become refined, okay? There's just something. It don't matter what about you changes or doesn't change. You really start looking like you are here to stay. And that's what I would like to happen to me. So I'm going to stick around. Someone said Lady Gaga. It's a perfect example. She is, though. Listen to me. She really is. Lady Gaga. Young. I don't even know how to find an example of her a long time ago. She looks like a kid. What? Okay, this is literally Lady Gaga. She looks so young. You look at her now, and it's just like, oh man, I want to be 39. I want to be 39. Okay, I want it to happen. People will say like, oh, like you, Lady Gaga, you could get work done. I don't even care what she did or did not get done. You cannot actually do any sort of procedure that will give you a mid-30s glow up. It just happens naturally. I want it to happen to me. No matter what you change or don't change, you can't actually fake the glow up that really does happen. So if you were in your late 20s and you're waiting and you're just like, oh, I want it to happen. Keep waiting. I'm telling you right now. Someone said you convinced me. Yes, keep waiting. I promise you I'm not making this up. I ain't never seen no example disprove me, not even one. Because you know what the thing is, though? I do believe that, like, there's also a double standard, obviously. Like, when men get older, everybody says you look so attractive. Like, what's his name? George Clooney, right? Which I'm not disagree. I'm not trying to call George Clooney ugly on a live stream, right? But like, as you get older as a dude, the more lines you get on your face, the more people start saying like, oh yeah, like you're refined or whatever. It's true for everybody. That's what people don't realize. My stomach just growled. It's literally true for everybody. You don't have to be a man. Don't let society tell you the only way to glow up by getting older is by being a man, okay? One last little example that I want to do. A lot of people are mentioning sunscreen too. Yes, it's deeply necessary. Listen. Kathy Bates at the Oscars. I want to serve this at some point, okay? She got hella wrinkles. You can't really see them in this picture because the lighting is really great. And she's wearing makeup, obviously. I want as many lines on my face. A lot of people would think I'm being shady right now. I'm literally not being shady. I want to be older. I want to know what my face looks like when I grow into it. Someone said they both had work done. Look, work or not, I've also seen this very same glow up in real life. Real life, okay? I want to be older so bad. So badly. I want it to happen to me. I had one other example that I was trying to think that I can't think of off the top of my head. She passed away recently. Oh, I'm sad. It was Dame Maggie Smith in 2024. I don't even want to bring her up because now I'm just sad about her passing. Okay, but listen. There's no actual age limit to serving. She just never stopped. She just never stopped. How old was Maggie Smith when she passed away? I don't actually remember. It was Maggie Smith, Wikipedia. 89. I want to be 89 and serving. That's what I want. So right now I have my mid-30s icons and I'm just like, yes, I want to look like that. Not like that, but like the me version of that. And then later I want to have my older icons, and then all the way up until 90. Until 90, I plan on serving every single day, no matter how much I have going on, no matter what it looks like. Serving does not mean looking 20. Someone said it's truly my goal to be an older person who serves. Someone said she's my goal. Rest in peace. Maggie Smith is the goal forever. Do you understand? This is my ideal. This is how I actually want to be perceived at some point in the future. I can't do it yet because I haven't leveled up. I have to keep living. I have no choice. Truly. Anyways, someone said Queen Latifah too. Yes, so many people. And look, obviously, chat. Obviously, people in Hollywood do still get work done. I'm not really saying Maggie Smith did, but like, I'm just telling you, this is a celebrity example. I can't actually show you pictures of people in my real life, but I look at the people in my real life and call this what you will, but I have always thought, honestly, that like older people are just beautiful. I don't understand. I don't really think beauty fades. I feel like youth is the only thing that fades. I think about the older faces in my mind, the people in my family. I'm seeing them, and yeah, they look older than me, but like, I don't know. I don't buy the lie. Essentially, that we all have to believe that you're gonna go downhill or something. Because I love my older people. They're great. The older people in my life are beautiful. I cut out a lot of them who were not beautiful on the inside. But currently, the older people in my life are gorgeous. Someone said my grandmother served all her life and never lost her sense of style. Exactly. Someone said you convinced me I'm going to turn 39. You got to do it one year at a time. That's what I do. Every so often I pick a new target. At one point, I only wanted to make it to 18 just so I could see what that was like. I hated it. And I was like, okay, I'll pick a new target. I forgot what it was. It might have even been 27. Well, I'm here now. And it could be better, but it's fine. My new goal is I want to be in my mid-30s. And then since then I'll pick another goal because I could literally only do this in segments. That's how I stay here on this world. Someone said in the attachment of beauty to youth is a facade. Exactly. But someone said I feel like you should make a long form video about this topic. I could, but there are people who have a lot more insight than me who could do a lot better than I can, for sure. Someone said give me my 50-year-old self something to aspire to. Your wife's been on New Year's. I try. Who knows? I said some things during the stream. They were good. Some things that were bad. But look, I'm going to go, y'all. I'm going to leave. This was a good stream. I'm not going to beat myself up and say that because it was a little tricky, it was bad. I think I did something really important today, and I'm proud of myself. And I'm really grateful to all of you for sticking by. I don't know if I'm going to stream tomorrow. but I will put up a video tomorrow. So look out for the video that's coming tomorrow. And if I actually have something to talk about, maybe I'll stream, or maybe you'll just see me next week. But I'm